Chapter 5059. The Yellow Spring sect leader and ancestor Bayun were indeed watching the situation from the outside. They also wanted to know how the situation inside was progressing. After all, they had come here to watch. If they could succeed, it would be the best thing to silently take control of the Sixth Absolute Palace. After all, Bailai had already been injured in the Everlasting Mountain. This matter could be hidden from ordinary people, but it could not be hidden from them. So they tried all sorts of methods. In just a few decades, they had caused the Sixth Absolute Palace to lose quite a few mining areas, and even caused many forces to become hesitant. They silently stood on their side. This was their greatest achievement. But even so, Bailai was still nowhere to be seen. This further proved that Bailai's injuries were very serious, and nothing could disturb him. And now, as long as this step was completed, they would have the time and the opportunity to slowly figure out Bailai. Where exactly was he cultivating in seclusion? When the time came, they would gather all their strength and kill Bailai. If nothing unexpected happens, Bailai must have been seriously injured this time. He can't even care about this kind of thing. The Yellow Spring sect leader was a middle-aged man in a black robe. His face was very pale, as if he hadn't seen the sun for 10,000 years. Next to him was Ancestor Bayun. Ancestor Bayun was an ancestor, but he looked very ordinary. However, his eyes were very cold, so cold that it was terrifying. The two of them had worked together to obtain a huge advantage. Now, they were only one step away. As long as their people could occupy the Sixth Absolute Palace, and even take down Bai Xingnan, that was not a problem at all. At that time, they could hide their strength and bide their time. No one would know that they were one step ahead of them. There shouldn't be too much of a problem. We've arranged for 6 peak superior gods and 10 late superior gods. Not everyone can stop them. Although Bai Xingnan has also broken through to the superior god level, he isn't that strong. He also doesn't control the Sixth Absolute Palace, so there's nothing to be afraid of. The Yellow Spring sect leader and ancestor Bayun understood Bai Xingnan very well. After all, Bai Xingnan was that person's only daughter. As for the other siblings, they didn't have any. If that wasn't the case, they wouldn't have used such a method. If Bailai had a few sons, they would have at least one method. Right now, they could only use such a move. Fortunately, this trip did not seem to be too much of a problem. They would definitely be able to easily take down the Sixth Absolute Palace. Time was ticking away. The Netherworld Hierarch and Ancestor White Cloud were both overjoyed. They had been looking forward to it for a long time, and they were finally about to reach the next step. Now all we have to do is wait for the message. The message came. The two of them could enter the Sixth Absolute Palace. For this day, they had thought about it for a long time. Today they could finally do it. A jade talisman in the Yellow Spring Hierarch's hand finally lit up. He saw a piece of information inside. A message from the second elder. Bai Xingnan has been captured by us. All the places are under our control. The 2 sirs can come in now. The message was from the second elder. When they received the second elder's message, the 2 of them heaved a sigh of relief. This step was also within their expectations. There were only a few experts in the entire Sixth Absolute Palace. After all, they had sent many experts on this trip. Again, it was completely silent. Most importantly, Sixth Absolute Palace still had the second elder on their side. There was also the 9th elder and the 10th elder. That was completely different. At the very least, they could catch them off guard. The 2 of them immediately flew toward the Sixth Absolute Palace. However, when they were about to reach the Sixth Absolute Palace, the Yellow Spring Hierarch suddenly stopped again. Ancestor Bayun, who was next to him, did not understand. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Ancestor Huangquan was more vigilant by nature. I don't know why, but I feel a little strange. Although our arrangements are very appropriate, Bailai is already injured, and there are only a few experts in the Sixth Absolute Palace. Why do I still feel a little uneasy? So you have the same idea. Actually, I have the same idea too. I feel that the Sixth Absolute Palace is not as simple as we think. With their cultivation realm, they indeed felt that the Sixth Absolute Palace was not as easy to break through as they had imagined. Although they had captured Bai Shengnan, and everything seemed to be within their expectations, the two of them still felt a little uneasy in their hearts. This trace of uneasiness was not infinitely magnified, but it also let them know that something was definitely not right when they thought about it. As for where the abnormality lay, it was unknown. The two of them quickly left after looking at each other. One in front and one behind, they quickly distanced themselves from each other and did not move forward at all. Lin Fei, who was in the void, also watched the two of them leave. He had to admit that the two of them were really very smart. They actually left at this time. The big formation inside had already been activated. As long as they entered within these 2 days, Lin Fei would give them a head-on blow. He would let them experience it. However, it was quite surprising that they left in the blink of an eye. They were worthy of being experts in this area. This feeling was quite effective. Since they were not going to come in, Lin Fei was naturally going to teach them a lesson. At least, he would let them know that the Sixth Absolute Palace was not a place that anyone could enter. A saber light. It instantly slashed out from the void. The saber light turned into a huge stream of light and swept across. Be it the Yellow Spring Hierarch or Ancestor Bayun, they were instantly sent flying by the saber. Under the saber light, countless bright lights appeared around the two of them. In the blink of an eye, the two of them disappeared one after another. The Yellow Spring Hierarch and Ancestor Bayun did not expect that someone would attack them in the void. The saber light was so terrifying that the pure power in the saber shocked them deeply. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared without a trace. The second saber light slashed across the void, and the people who were originally hiding in the void disappeared one by one. In the blink of an eye, this part of the void became quiet and tranquil. There's always a price to pay for watching the show. I wonder if you guys have experienced it this time. Lin Fei narrowed his eyes slightly and returned to the Sixth Absolute Palace. For quite a long time, these people will not dare to have any thoughts or ideas. The two sabers just now were not a joke. At the very least, the Yellow Spring Hierarch and Ancestor Bayun had suffered a lot. As for the others, they were already prepared after the first slash, so they didn't suffer much damage from the slash. Lin Fei had also controlled his power, so only the Yellow Spring Hierarch and Ancestor Bayun suffered. Chapter 5060. The two blade lights at the entrance of Sixth Absolute Palace. This appearance had indeed caused a huge commotion on this floor. Of course, this sensation was only limited to the top circle. The experts in the top circle were all great perfection high god. They could even be a little stronger. However, at this moment, they all felt that Sixth Absolute Palace was unusual. They all knew about the experts of Sixth Absolute Palace. Apart from Bai Lai, who was the strongest, the rest of them were average in strength. At most, they could not break through the defenses. After all, Sixth Absolute Palace was a powerful treasure. Therefore, Sixth Absolute Palace had always been above them. This time, the Netherworld Sect Master and Ancestor Bayun suffered a big loss, which really made everyone feel different. No one knew who did it, and no one knew how many more experts like him were in Sixth Absolute Palace. It also let them know that Sixth Absolute Palace was far stronger than them. The various forces that were originally eager to make a move on the remaining mines stopped for a while and did not make a move at all. It seemed like they would not make a move until they knew the specific situation. Even the Netherworld Sect Master and the others could not stop them, let alone the other forces. If someone came knocking on their door, they would not even have a place to cry. Therefore, this level fell into a short period of peace. It was as if nothing had happened before. Lin Fei did not stay in Sixth Absolute Palace for a long time. He also knew that Bai Lai was not in Sixth Absolute Palace, but somewhere else. That was the only way to recover with peace of mind. The 16 High God experts all remained and became a new force for the 6 Absolute Palace. At least for a long time, they could still be the main force. Lin Fei had already left and returned to Haoyue sect. Master, you're finally back. I heard that the Netherworld sect master and ancestor Bayun were attacked this time. I still can't figure out what happened. After Fairy Bayou became the sect master, she didn't slack off. She immediately expanded the intelligence network. Originally, the Haoyue sect had a certain level of strength, so the intelligence gathering was relatively smooth. Until now, the Blue Fairy had not figured out what kind of experts 6 Absolute Palace had. The 2 of them were injured by me. The others also more or less felt the power of my saber. Your intelligence gathering is not bad. Do you have any more details? Master, you're too amazing. You were even able to injure the Netherworld Cult Master and White Cloud Ancestor. I heard that they're extremely strong, and they even have a chance of breaking through to the Almighty level. The Blue Fairy's eyes began to shine. She was once again in admiration. That was a top-notch existence. He had actually suffered a huge loss in front of his master, and even now he didn't dare to make any movements. I've gathered some information about the 3rd floor. Fairy Greenstream hurriedly took out a set of information. The great world of gods had a total of 3 layers. The first layer was the most ordinary, while the second layer was the world of this world. Both the resources and the area were much larger. There was no information on the 3rd floor that was leaked to the outside world. Although Lin Fei had yet to meet the experts on this level, Netherworld Hierarch and White Cloud Ancestor had seen them. They were the top 5 experts. Lin Fei wasn't too interested in this layer, but he was especially interested in the 3rd floor. The information was also in Lin Fei's hands. The information on the 3rd floor was also intermittent, but Lin Fei could more or less understand the situation. It seems like the 3rd floor is an important place that controls the great world of gods. After looking through the information, Lin Fei came to a conclusion. The 3rd floor could only be entered by Almighty-level experts. However, Lin Fei had no idea how to get to the 3rd floor. Master, I'm afraid that only Bai Lai knows how to go to the 3rd floor, or to the 2nd floor, the so-called Forbidden Zone. There was also a Forbidden Zone in the 2nd floor, and it was also the most dangerous place in the 2nd floor. This Forbidden Zone seems to be connected to another world, so it's very dangerous. Ordinary people don't dare to enter, and only late-stage high gods dare to enter. However, it's very dangerous after entering, and they might not be able to come out. The Blue Fairy knew a lot about this. If I'm not wrong, Bai Lai should be hiding inside. That's the safest place. After all, the more dangerous a place is, the safer it is. We know this principle, and Bai Lai should also know this principle. This was also what Lin Fei had just thought of. He had been guessing where Bai Lai would go, and now he really knew. Then you guard the Haoyue sect well. I'll go take a look at the Forbidden Zone. Since Lin Fei knew, he naturally didn't hesitate and headed straight for the Forbidden Zone. Before leaving, he gave the Blue Fairy 6 divine talismans of power. A single surge of power was enough to kill a high god paragon. Even if someone had designs on the Haoyue sect, it would be useless. They would be killed immediately. Lin Fei didn't want to go out and find that the Haoyue sect was gone when he returned. Fairy Bayou had a lot of potential to be nurtured. At the end of the 2nd layer, there was a dark area. This darkness controlled a large area. When Lin Fei arrived, he sensed that something was different about this place. He furrowed his brows slightly. After frowning slightly, he sensed that this Forbidden Zone seemed to be moving. It was constantly spreading outwards. To put it more simply, this Forbidden Zone seemed to be eating away at this world. Even though this was happening very slowly, it would take at least tens of thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years for it to devour this layer. It was devouring this world. Looks like this Forbidden Zone is different as well. Lin Fei sensed for a moment, then entered. As he entered, there was an enormous power suppressing him, causing his senses to shrink limitlessly. Even though Lin Fei was extremely powerful right now, the range of his senses was only a few 100 million kilometers or so. His greatest limit was 800 million kilometers. For others, they probably wouldn't even be able to reach half of his range. In fact, they would only be able to reach 1 or 200 million kilometers. This was the benefit of being powerful. Being able to sense so far away was enough for Lin Fei. It wouldn't be easy for someone to quickly reach him from a few 100 million kilometers away. Basically, as soon as someone moved, he would be able to react. This forbidden zone was extremely large. Lin Fei wasn't in a rush, so he began to slowly search. After all, this so-called forbidden zone was extremely dangerous, and there were some things that he didn't know about. At first, he didn't encounter any tricks, but as he went deeper, he began to sense some special creatures hidden in the darkness. Chapter 5061. As soon as he entered the restricted area, he noticed that there were many special creatures. These creatures were all hidden inside and were faintly discernible. They were probably all thinking about him. Lin Fei wasn't surprised at all. These creatures weren't very strong, and none of them were willing to die. Lin Fei continued to fly. He realized that this restricted area was bigger than he had imagined, and it was much more mysterious. It wasn't easy to find someone here. However, Lin Fei had quite a few tricks up his sleeve. He used the Great Karma Technique right away. This Great Karma Technique came in handy at this time. He felt that he could check if he and Bai Lai were here or not. The moment he connected, a faintly discernible figure appeared. Lin Fei smiled. His guess was right. This Bai Lai was in this restricted area. The other places on the second floor weren't very safe, but it was different if they entered. The restricted area was more mysterious, and even one's perception was suppressed. Therefore, it wasn't something that just anyone could find if it was hidden here. After confirming the direction, Lin Fei headed towards this place. Along the way, the obstacles in the void were much larger. Lin Fei was a little surprised. He realized that there seemed to be a safe area and a dangerous area. With a whoosh, a cold light shot towards Lin Fei. It should be a hidden creature attacking. Lin Fei's gaze turned cold as he turned around and punched. With a loud explosion, it appeared. There was a crisp sound. That creature was directly killed by Lin Fei's punch. Following that, a cold light swept across the area. 2 consecutive slashes instantly caused the restricted area creatures to feel huge pressure. They didn't have any thoughts at all. After the 2 slashes, these restricted area creatures all felt how terrifying Lin Fei was and didn't attack. Lin Fei flew in for more than 10 days. If not for the Great Karma Technique, he really wouldn't have been able to find any traces of Bai Lai. There were many restricted area creatures in the dark, and their auras were all very strong. They were not afraid, but the knife in Lin Fei's hand might be a joke. With one saber strike, these Forbidden Zone creatures felt immense pressure. They did not dare to come over carelessly. Half a month passed in a flash. Lin Fei still hadn't reached the end of the Forbidden Zone. He didn't know where the Forbidden Zone was. He could only lock onto Bai Lai's position. It was just up ahead, and it would take at most half a day to get there. Hua la Lin Fei heard the sound. This sound seemed to be the sound of fighting. Most importantly, it was still in Bai Lai's direction. Thus, he sped up and spread out his perception power. The distance of 800 million kilometers was quickly covered. He saw this scene. There was actually a palace inside the forbidden area. However, the situation of the palace was quite bad because there were 2 powerful creatures constantly attacking it. These 2 creatures were quite strong. He had actually reached the pseudo-divine master level. Even though a pseudo-divine master's level wasn't considered very strong, if they were used to attack the palace, it would be as easy as grabbing a snail with 2 hands. If I'm not mistaken, Bai Lai should be inside this palace. They had run into each other in such a situation. Lin Fei was indeed quite surprised. Suddenly, One of the figures fighting over there stared at Lin Fei. He had actually sensed the distance of several 100 million kilometers in an instant. What powerful perception power! Voila! One of the Forbidden Zone creatures charged at Lin Fei. With one of the two creatures coming his way, Bai Lai instantly felt much more relaxed inside the palace. However, he couldn't sense anyone coming his way. The pressure on his heart suddenly tightened. This is really bad. Not only did two Forbidden Zone creatures come, but there's also someone else coming. This time, I really can't avoid disaster or blessing. Inside the palace, Bai Lai's face was somewhat pale. He was constantly controlling the palace to block the attacks of the creatures. Ever since he was injured last time, Bai Lai had come to this Forbidden Zone. He used a treasure to do so. This palace could be big or small. If he hid it in this Forbidden Zone, no one would be able to find it. It was also the safest place to recuperate. But now, he discovered that he had encountered trouble. He didn't know what was going on, but he had actually been targeted by two Forbidden Zone creatures. Moreover, they were two pseudo-god masters. They were not just an ordinary level of strength. Usually, one of them was very terrifying. Now that there were two, Bai Lai couldn't resist. He was also bitterly holding on. Now, someone else had come. Although he had attracted a Forbidden Zone creature over, who knew how strong this person was. Now, Bai Lai didn't dare to think too much. He could only rely on the heavens. This time, he had come here to recuperate. He didn't tell anyone, not even his own daughter. There were countless people on this floor who couldn't wait for him to be injured and couldn't wait to find a place where he could recuperate. This Forbidden Zone creature was extremely fast. Under Lin Fei's perception, it was getting closer and closer. Lin Fei also praised the Forbidden Zone creatures in his heart for being smart. This way, the pressure on Bai Lai had decreased by a lot. At the very least, two of them attacking a palace was much less pressure than one attacking. It had been a long time since he had encountered such a powerful Forbidden Zone creature. It was the perfect time to start. The Forbidden Zone creature was also getting closer and closer to Lin Fei. From 800 million miles, it instantly broke through to 100 million miles. The Forbidden Zone creature was already faintly discernible. At this moment, Lin Fei made his move. His fist directly pierced through it. At this moment, Lin Fei directly used his strength. The power of this fist was like the speed of light. It instantly pierced through the Forbidden Zone creature. The Forbidden Zone creature immediately howled in pain. Looks like this pseudo-god master Forbidden Zone creature isn't as strong as I thought. Lin Fei coldly snorted. Another punch came, but this one was blocked by the Forbidden Zone creature. The Forbidden Zone creature blocked it, forming a defense around its body. With this defense, Lin Fei's figure had already arrived. The immemorial tyrant saber in his hand directly slashed down. This saber strike was imbued with the aura of eternity. The Forbidden Zone creature couldn't move for a moment. Then it was slashed by Lin Fei's saber. Following that, a shiny object fell out. Lin Fei grabbed it and it landed in his hand. It was something like a magic core, but it was filled with a very strong power. I really overestimated this Forbidden Zone creature, and it's even at the pseudo-god master level. Lin Fei shook his head. He was still quite disappointed. It wasn't as strong as he had imagined. He had been happy for nothing. This thing in his hand was a little mysterious. He casually put away. Chapter 5062. Bai Lai, who was inside the palace, felt very surprised when he heard the scream of the Forbidden Zone creature. It can't be. Could it be that the Forbidden Zone creature was heavily injured by that person? That shouldn't be the case. This Forbidden Zone creature is also at the pseudo-god lord level. In a one-on-one fight, even I am not his match, let alone in this Forbidden Zone. Bai Lai's imagination ran wild, but he couldn't figure out who had come here. He had no impression at all. After all, he knew all the experts on this floor. He was the strongest. The ones behind him, such as the Yellow Springs Patriarch and Ancestor White Cloud, couldn't catch up at all, not to mention that they had such combat power. Could it be someone from the Forbidden Zone? Bai Lai couldn't think of any other explanation. In theory, those people wouldn't come here. They looked down on this place. Bai Lai knew the most secrets on this floor. Only he himself knew. And at the same time, he also knew why he had come to this forbidden area to heal his injuries. It was because this place was safe. Although there were some Forbidden Zone creatures, they wouldn't affect him too much. But this time it was an accident. 2 pseudo-god Lord Forbidden Zone creatures had come at once. Now, this Forbidden Zone creature seemed to have run into trouble. The Forbidden Zone creature that was attacking suddenly launched a fierce attack and fled into the distance. This really surprised Bai Lai. The scene was restored to silence. Although Bai Lai was relieved, he immediately realized that the situation was not as good as he thought. A true expert had come. The restricted zone creature that had just chased after it might have suffered a great loss, or it might have been killed by someone. To be able to kill such a pseudo-god Lord Forbidden Zone creature, this person's strength was unimaginable. That was why this Forbidden Zone creature had fled. These Forbidden Zone creatures weren't without intelligence. They still had a little bit of it and were very sensitive to danger. Bai Lai wanted to control the palace to leave, but he knew that it was too difficult. He couldn't do it at all because the palace consumed too much energy. Even the formations inside were damaged. It was all done by these Forbidden Region creatures. All Bai Lai could do now was wait and see who had come. Let's see who's here. I still have some trump cards in my hands. At worst, I'll just go all out. Not long after, he saw a stream of light coming over. The stream of light was extremely fast, but the aura on the body was very unfamiliar. When this person appeared, he saw a young figure. Who else could it be other than that Lin Fei? It was extremely shocking. I've come all the way here, and you're not going to invite me in? Lin Fei was planning to kill the other Forbidden Zone creature as well, so he could warm up. Unexpectedly, this Forbidden Zone creature was smarter than he had imagined. In the blink of an eye, it had fled, immediately finding its trail and escaping from the range of his perception. This speed could not be considered slow enough. Fortunately, Lin Fei did not have much interest in Forbidden Zone creatures. A figure appeared. It was Bai Lai. His face was pale, but there was gratitude on his face. So, it's you who has come to help me. Please come forward. Bai Lai heaved a sigh of relief. This Lin Fei actually came from the first floor. Furthermore, he was able to come to the Forbidden Zone. He must have been to his 6th absolute palace. If it was someone else, it would be very dangerous for Bai Lai. But this Lin Fei was different. He had always been unable to see through this Lin Fei. He did not expect him to come this time. It was really unexpected. He even killed a Forbidden Zone creature. That was a pseudo-god lord level Forbidden Zone creature. It was a little unbelievable to say it out loud. Since when did this Lin Fei become so strong? But no matter what, Bai Lai was finally relieved. There was no trouble at all. Not long after, the two of them sat in a courtyard inside the palace. The palace also retracted, turning into a speck of dust. Although it could not be moved for the time being, with Lin Fei here, there was naturally no danger. Bai Lai had even taken out his best tea. It had a calming effect. Of course, it also had the effect of strengthening the body. It was not much to Lin Fei, but he could still understand how precious it was. Your daughter said that you should be in this Forbidden Zone. I thought about it for a long time, but I didn't expect to really run into you. You're really unlucky when it comes to healing your injuries, Lin Fei said as he sipped his tea. Bai Lai also smiled bitterly. I can't help it. Other places are not safe, even the 6th absolute palace. However, this Forbidden Zone is safe. Although there are also Forbidden Zone creatures, I'm just unlucky today. Bai Lai also took a sip of tea and then asked about the situation outside the 6th absolute palace. If he hadn't asked, he wouldn't have known. Now that he asked, Bai Lai was a little angry. This netherworld, sect master, and ancestor Bayun are really bold. They behaved themselves when I was here, but when I wasn't here, they tried all kinds of things. Fortunately, you helped me a lot. Bai Lai was also more and more grateful to Lin Fei. If it were not for Lin Fei's help, he did not know what would have happened to him. Even his palace might be destroyed by this Forbidden Zone creature. At that time, it was easy to imagine what kind of situation it would be. This was not something he wanted to see. I have already taught the Netherworld sect master and ancestor Bayun a lesson, so they won't dare to do anything for a while. However, you have to do the rest yourself. I'm relieved to see you this time. Of course, I don't think it's a problem to talk about the outside world. Bai Lai laughed, took out a book from his ring, and placed it in front of Lin Fei. This is the situation in the outside star region. It's more detailed. I bought it from the World Tower. It has all kinds of information. You can have a look first. I'll go fix the formation first. We'll talk about it after we leave this place. Lin Fei did not say anything. As he sipped his tea, he flipped through the documents. The information was quite detailed. After looking through it, he knew what was going on outside. For example, the star region that Lin Fei was in was called the Mountain River Star region. This star domain wasn't very powerful. In fact, it was relatively weak. This was because there were no experts in the star region. The strongest Divine Master was only a 4-star Divine Master. This level was not considered high. For example, the strongest Divine Master in some powerful star region was a 7-star Divine Master. Therefore, there was a big difference in comparison. Because this star region was relatively weak, some people naturally looked down on it. Chapter 5063. It took a few days. Bai Lai finally repaired the formation, and the entire palace began to move again. There was no need to stay where they were. Bai Lai finally let out a long sigh of relief. After all, the creatures in the Forbidden Zone were very troublesome. Now that they could move, it was a good thing. As for why they had been exposed before, no one knew. The star area that we are currently in is an ordinary star area, and there aren't many experts in it. Therefore, if we want to go out and explore, we need to at least have the strength of a 2- or 3-star Divine Master. Otherwise, we will easily become cannon fodder when we go out. The outside world is also exceptionally dangerous. Bai Lai returned. He knew that Lin Fei had finished reading the information. Lin Fei nodded. The outside world is indeed very dangerous, but this small world is no longer interesting to me. By the way, what is the 3rd floor? Lin Fei finally asked about something else. He wanted to know more than anyone else about the 3rd floor of this great world. Lin Fei knew that Bai Lai would know some secrets. I heard that the 3rd floor is a treasure left behind by a Divine Master, but very few people can pass through it. Bai Lai did not hide it. He knew that even if he did not say it, Lin Fei would find out sooner or later. In fact, Lin Fei already had some guesses in his heart. It really was like that. So if you want to go to the 3rd floor, you should go through this Forbidden Zone. And if you want to go there, you have to face the creatures in the Forbidden Zone. That should be the case. Bai Lai's expression changed slightly, and he smiled. You're smarter than I thought. That's right. The 3rd floor is inside this Forbidden Zone. However, I don't know where the entrance is. I once searched this Forbidden Zone for 100 years, but I still couldn't find the entrance. Bai Lai sighed. This was the thing that made him feel the most helpless. He had searched this Forbidden Zone for 100 years without finding the entrance. Speaking of it, it was a slap in the face. Lin Fei was not surprised at all. How could Bai Lai not have the intention to go to the 3rd floor? As for why he did not go to the 3rd floor, there was only one explanation. That was that he could not find the entrance to this floor. And in the Forbidden Zone, it was the most normal. Finding such an entrance in the Forbidden Zone was not an easy task. It required a lot of effort and, of course, a certain amount of fate. I don't have a chance to find it, but you're better than me. Maybe you'll be able to find the entrance to the 3rd layer. Maybe you can even become the world lord of this small world. I heard that after becoming the world lord of this small world, you can stay here. In this way, you won't have to worry about being killed, unless this small world is completely destroyed. Bai Lai did not hide anything. Lin Fei was quite curious before. So this was the reason why Bai Lai had to search for 100 years here. Lin Fei was very confident in his body. Right now, his physical body was exceptionally tough. Even if he was at the same cultivation level, he wouldn't be able to break through his physical body. Only those with the strength of a 5 or 6-star divine master would be able to do so. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do it. This was Lin Fei's greatest source of confidence. I'm not interested in becoming the world lord. I just want to see what's in the 3rd floor. Of course, there was another sentence that he didn't say. That was, Lin Fei wanted to sign in on the 3rd floor to see what he could get. This was what Lin Fei wanted to do. After that, Lin Fei chatted with Bai Lai about some things. It was about half a month's time. During this half a month, the palace was constantly moving. They didn't encounter any more Forbidden Zone creatures. On this day, Lin Fei's figure appeared outside the palace. Bai Lai also came out. Are you sure you want to stay for a while longer? Lin Fei shook his head. No, I've already disturbed you for half a month. I'll try to find the way to the 3rd floor. If I really find it, I'll naturally tell you. I'm not interested in becoming the world lord. My goal is the Sea of Stars. Lin Fei's figure left with a whoosh. Soon, Bai Lai couldn't sense him anymore. For the first time, he realized that Lin Fei's thoughts were far bigger than his. Bai Lai's goal was to become the world lord. By joining forces with the small world, he would be able to stay for a long time. Even if he went out to train, he wouldn't have to worry about being killed. It was rare to see someone like Lin Fei. Indeed, he left. Bai Lai couldn't tell how big the Forbidden Zone was. In any case, it was very dangerous. Hence, it wouldn't be easy to find the entrance to the 3rd floor. Of course, Lin Fei also admired this god, Lord, for creating such a test. The 3rd floor was definitely a test. Could he find it? It would really depend on luck. Fortunately, Lin Fei had the great karma technique. There was nothing to worry about. He directly activated it. There was a faint line that led to a certain place. He knew that this was the direction to the 3rd floor. As for what was ahead, he didn't know. Anyway, it didn't matter to Lin Fei. As long as he could find the location of the ground, nothing else mattered. Along the way, he didn't meet any Forbidden Zone life forms. He flew for half a year. Lin Fei wasn't surprised at all. Of course, he had a certain understanding of how big the Forbidden Zone was. In Bai Lai's words, the Forbidden Zone was very big. It could even connect to other worlds and other places. Hence, he had to be very careful in this Forbidden Zone. In this half a year, he didn't meet anyone. He only met some Forbidden Zone life forms. These Forbidden Zone life forms weren't considered strong. Lin Fei couldn't be bothered to deal with them, so he just avoided them. Or he would release a bit of his aura. This aura would instantly make these Forbidden Zone life forms run as far away as they could. They didn't dare to stay at all. After an entire year, Lin Fei finally felt that he was getting closer and closer to that place. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Suddenly, there was an intense fluctuation in front of him. This fluctuation came without any warning. Like a tide, it instantly rushed over. The empty space in front of Lin Fei was instantly crushed. In an instant, Lin Fei withstood it. This was a Forbidden Zone life form, and it was very strong. In the instant of contact, Lin Fei knew that this power was extremely strong. His ancient overlord body still suffered a certain amount of impact, and cracks appeared on it. There must be a powerful Forbidden Zone life form in front. I'm afraid it's also connected to the 3rd floor, or someone is fighting over there. Chapter 5064. Lin Fei had indeed sensed the movement in front of him. Hence, he rushed over immediately, and the location where the great karma technique was activated was right here. Basically, that person was right here. It shouldn't be too far away. Lin Fei's speed was still extremely fast. As soon as he arrived, he saw that there were indeed people besieging a huge Forbidden Zone creature. This Forbidden Zone creature was extremely strong. Even Lin Fei secretly sucked in a breath of cold air when he sensed it. This was a powerful Forbidden Zone creature that was almost at the level of a 3- or 4-star God Lord. However, this Forbidden Zone creature's attack was very singular. Even if it was singular, it was still very domineering. And the ones besieging this Forbidden Zone creature were 4 great experts. Each of these 4 great experts was controlling a treasure. After this treasure was formed, it could restrict the Forbidden Zone creature. From afar, after taking a look, Lin Fei knew that these 4 people were definitely experts. Their methods were very powerful, and these treasures all had complementary attributes. Hence, although this Forbidden Zone creature was strong, it seemed a little difficult to resist at this time. If it was under normal circumstances, Lin Fei would not have any thoughts about it. If they wanted to kill Forbidden Zone creatures, then let them kill them. But Lin Fei vaguely felt that there should be something special in this Forbidden Zone creature's body that was related to him. Then this thing was very likely to lead to the 3rd floor. This was what made Lin Fei feel the seriousness of the matter the most. If they killed this Forbidden Zone creature or took it away, wouldn't he have made a wasted trip? Lin Fei was still very interested in the 3rd floor. He wanted to go in and take a look, and while he was at it, he might be able to get some good things. He had signed in below for 1,000 years. Although he didn't sign in for long on the 2nd floor, he still obtained some things. What he was most interested in should be the 3rd floor. As long as he couldn't sign in on the 3rd floor, Lin Fei felt that it was a waste. Just as Lin Fei was thinking about whether to make a move or not, a treasure suddenly smashed over. After this treasure smashed over, the void instantly collapsed, turning into a huge black hole. Everything in its path was instantly destroyed. This method was very powerful. The 3 Black Sect is working here. If you don't want to die, scram. The cold voice fell into Lin Fei's heart. It turned out that these 4 people were actually from a faction called the 3 Black Sect. And this 3 Black Gate seemed to be quite strong. It could even suppress such a ferocious creature from the Forbidden Zone. That attack just now had been extremely powerful, but Lin Fei himself had the strength of a divine master, and the strongest part of his body was his physical body. Although these people were extremely powerful when they joined forces and were able to restrain a divine, Lord-level being, their individual strength was only around 2 or 3 stars. Although they were much stronger than Lin Fei, their bodies were still very fragile. This was Lin Fei's greatest confidence. This Forbidden Zone creature is related to me. If you kill it, that's the same as destroying my relationship, so I won't stand on ceremony. Lin Fei laughed heartily as he charged forward. The immemorial tyrant blade appeared in his hand. As soon as the blade appeared, streams of light slashed over. The 4 of them didn't seem to care at all. Of course, they were also a little surprised. After all, they had underestimated this fellow's ability to remain unscathed. They hadn't paid much attention to it, but as this person continued to attack, they began to feel the pressure. That was because these saber lights actually contained destructive power within them. Furthermore, they were exceptionally strong. As soon as he came over, he immediately affected their teamwork. Most importantly, this fellow's outburst was too ferocious. Blade after blade, it seemed as though he didn't need to rest at all. Although they had managed to withstand it, it still affected them greatly. At the same time, on Lin Fei's side, black holes appeared one after another. These black holes all contained attacks. Although there were only a few black holes, they instantly reduced the pressure on Lin Fei. The 4 experts from the Triple Black Sect were once again taken aback by such a move. They felt that after their attacks passed through, they seemed to be attracted to the black holes. On the contrary, When their attacks landed on the other party's body, they estimated that the power would be reduced to 20 to 30%. The other party's body seemed to be extremely strong, as he easily withstood the attacks. This was completely different from what they had imagined. If this continued, they really wouldn't be able to handle this kid. One of the 4 people flew out with a whoosh. I'll deal with this fellow. The 3 of you focus on seriously injuring this Forbidden Zone creature first. The one who flew over was a middle-aged man. On the left and right sides of this middle-aged man, a clone walked out. It turned out that this was an expert who walked the path of an essence soul. He immediately created a clone, ready to fight with Lin Fei. How dare you disturb the 3 Black Gates' work? I'll make you regret your actions this time. Not everyone is qualified to behave atrociously in front of the 3 of us. As soon as these primordial spirits appeared, they unleashed a barrage of attacks. These attacks were really quite powerful. Because they were essence soul experts, they were able to instantly set up a large array. This large array directly fell on Lin Fei's body. All of the attacks were rather ferocious, causing wounds to appear all over Lin Fei's body. Lin Fei didn't care. After all, this was the first time he had fought with such a person. Moreover, this person might be an expert. I also killed a primordial soul expert last time, but I really haven't met a primordial soul expert as powerful as you. Their attacks were basically swallowed up by the black holes, and the power contained within them was also very strong. Lin Fei's saber technique also continuously erupted. To deal with these essence soul experts, he had to attack fiercely, making it impossible for him to defend. Lin Fei's saber light was indeed very fierce. In front of this saber, these essence souls were indeed a little embarrassed. After all, the power of destruction that fell on these essence souls was very terrifying. With a whoosh, a beam of light burst out from one of the black holes, instantly hitting an essence soul. The middle-aged man's expression changed drastically when he saw the essence soul expert being killed in an instant. Previously, he felt that this black hole was a little unusual, but he didn't expect it to contain a killing move. You're quite powerful to be able to kill an essence soul of mine. The middle-aged man was surprised. He had underestimated the other party. You're not the only one I'm killing. Lin Fei laughed. Chapter 5065. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Lin Fei's remaining black hole instantly exploded with rays of light. In an instant, the surrounding primordial spirits were destroyed. These were the rays of power that had been left behind. At the critical moment, they were still very strong. At the very least, they could instantly destroy primordial spirits. Although Lin Fei's current strength had reached the level of a god lord, his physical body was much stronger than theirs. He could still deal with these primordial spirits. In an instant, he had unleashed this power, which instantly caught the middle-aged man off guard. All of the middle-aged man's clones had been destroyed. Even he himself had been injured by this power. As soon as he was injured, Lin Fei's figure immediately appeared. He unleashed one slash after another, completely enveloping his opponent. He simply had no time to use any of his techniques. This was because Lin Fei's blade light was too terrifying. Amidst the terror, there was also the power of destruction. He simply could not resist it. Lin Fei's slash landed on his opponent's body. This slash carried the power of destruction. In an instant, more than half of his body exploded. He was seriously injured. This was because the middle-aged man's physical body was too weak. It was not as strong as Lin Fei's. On the other side, the 3 God Lord experts had been able to suppress this Forbidden Zone creature just now. But now, it was obvious that they were having a hard time. This was because this Forbidden Zone creature was also quite powerful. They had originally thought that they could easily take down this kid. They did not expect to see that their fellow Taoist had already been injured, and his injuries were quite serious. Half of his body had almost collapsed. This guy's physical body is extremely strong. Moreover, this black hole contains a killing move. It can absorb attacks. Be careful. This primordial spirit expert suddenly used a scroll, and his entire body disappeared. This was because he would not be able to hold on any longer. Before he left behind a message. The other three were shocked. One of the four of them had actually been beaten to the point of fleeing, and he had even used a scroll. He had left this world. This caused their expressions to instantly turn extremely ugly. This was definitely not something they wanted to see. Damn it! The three of them glared at each other. Lin Fei also came over in an instant and slashed with his hand. Of course, his target wasn't the three of them, but the treasures. These treasures were floating in the air, which meant that they had formed a restraining force. With this attack, these treasures resisted to a certain extent. How could they withstand Lin Fei's ferocious attacks? One treasure after another was sent flying. With this strike, the Forbidden Zone creature regained its freedom. The three of them were in a sorry state. The three of them glanced at each other and immediately attacked. No matter what, he had to get rid of this young man first. It wasn't easy for them to find such a large Forbidden Zone creature, but it was destroyed by this guy. This time, it would be extremely difficult to take down this creature that had entered the Forbidden Land. There were only three of them left. Only 4 people would be able to take down a Forbidden Zone creature like this. When he made his move, he didn't believe that just anyone would be able to survive. In the end, he encountered such a show. It was really hard for them to accept. Hua la wave after wave of attacks came over. Their attacks were really fierce, and they directly crushed it. Fortunately, Lin Fei's black hole was really strong. It absorbed the attacks, even though some of them still landed on his body. It only injured Lin Fei a little. It couldn't threaten him at all. The Forbidden Zone creature also attacked this side. On the other side, they had to endure the attacks of the Forbidden Zone creature. This made them feel a lot of pressure. They couldn't cause much damage to Lin Fei at all. The three of them stared at him viciously. Our 3 Black sect will definitely come for you. You won't be able to escape. With a walla, the 3 of them left. They had no choice but to leave. The Forbidden Zone creature didn't stop attacking. Along with this young man restricting their strength, they didn't have much of a chance of winning. It was already good enough that they could leave. In the blink of an eye, the 3 of them left. Lin Fei didn't have any thoughts about the 3 Black sect. If he offended them, then so be it. Voila! The Forbidden Zone creature turned into a giant black hole. This black hole instantly covered Lin Fei. This time, Lin Fei didn't put up much resistance. He just pulled a few black holes near him and entered them in an instant. In the blink of an eye, this place calmed down. The Forbidden Zone creature didn't seem to exist anymore. It was as if nothing had happened at all. However, Lin Fei knew that this Forbidden Zone creature was really something. It turned out that his body was connected to the 3rd level. This was something that Lin Fei didn't expect. This was because there was a tunnel here. Maybe because of Lin Fei, the Forbidden Zone creature was a black hole. It swallowed Lin Fei and entered. Then it touched the treasure inside. Then Lin Fei came to a large area. This was a slightly gray place. In front of him was a huge lake. There was nothing in the lake. There was a thatched hut on the side. He couldn't feel the time and space outside at this moment. Lin Fei knew that he should have come to the 3rd level. There was no one below the thatched hut. Lin Fei walked over, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. This was because he saw a few things on the stone platform of the thatched hut. These few things seemed to be waiting for him to come. Voila! Just as Lin Fei walked into the thatched hut, starlight gathered in the sky. He saw a figure appear not far away. This figure was very blurry. It was an old man. It's been 100,000 years. Finally, someone came to the 3rd level. The moment this person spoke, Lin Fei was shocked. It was actually 100,000 years. Lin Fei greets Senior. He cupped his hands. This was a mark left by the old man. After this mark appeared, it would probably disappear soon. So it's the Tao of the physical body. This is not easy. Only people with physical bodies can withstand the crushing power of this tunnel. In the end, even primordial soul experts can't come here unless they have reached the 5th level of primordial soul. The figure looked up and down and couldn't help but laugh. Lin Fei knew that it would not be easy to come to the 3rd level. It turned out that one had to have a strong physical body to come to this level. Otherwise, one's primordial soul had to reach an extremely high level. For example, the primordial soul expert from the 3 Black sect that Lin Fei encountered previously was not very strong. His methods were also very ordinary. If he was stronger, it would not be so easy for Lin Fei. Chapter 5066. In fact, when Lin Fei came to the 3rd level, he actually had some guesses in his heart. Basically, it was not much different from what he thought in his heart. The only difference was that no one had come to this place for 100,000 years. This was what surprised Lin Fei. Although the small world I'm in isn't much, it's still a world with quite a lot of potential. Since you're here, I'll leave these treasures to you, but you have to do something for me. The illusory figure finally spoke slowly. Lin Fei already knew that it would be like this. After all, these things weren't that easy to obtain. He had already seen them just now, and they were indeed of some value. Of course, for the current Lin Fei, this bit of value was nothing. He only came to this level to sign in. It was just a simple matter to see if he could obtain some good things. I wonder what Senior wants me to do. If it's too difficult, I'm afraid I won't be able to complete it. Lin Fei also went straight to the point. In the past, Lin Fei wouldn't care much about ordinary things. However, if he really took this thing, then it would be a different story. Hence, Lin Fei decided to listen to it first. This phantom was a little surprised. I didn't expect you to be so thoughtful. These things of mine are indeed quite easy to obtain. After taking them, you can become the world lord of this world. At that time, ordinary powerhouses basically won't be able to kill you unless they're a 6-star Divine Lord or 7-star Divine Lord. This is the greatest advantage of being a world lord. At this moment, the phantom seemed to look at Lin Fei. Lin Fei smiled. He really didn't care about this. In the future, he would be stronger than them. You should tell me about it first. Although these things are quite good. An answer like Lin Fei's was really rare. Ordinary people would definitely get these things first when they saw them. However, people like Lin Fei were truly one of kind. They were simply too rare. My request is quite simple, and that is to kill someone for me. This person has the strength of a 7-star Divine Lord. If you can agree to this task, then the 2 7-star Divine Lord treasures here will naturally belong to you, and you will become the master of the world. Lin Fei knew that this task was not that simple. It was actually to kill a 7-star Divine Lord. This task was really not simple at all. Even if Bai Lai came here, he would probably only be able to stare. This world lord was not easy. Even if one cultivated slowly, who knew how long it would take to reach such a level? After all, starting from the 5-star Divine Lord level, one level of strength would increase by more than 10 times. A 7-star Divine Lord level of strength could kill a 6-star Divine Lord with a wave of a hand. However, it was not that easy to deal with a 7-star Divine Lord at the same realm. At the same time, it was also divided into 4 realms: early stage, middle stage, late stage, peak, and consummate. Lin Fei wasn't stupid. Of course, he wouldn't want these things. Although 2 7-star Divine Master level treasures sounded impressive, in Lin Fei's opinion, it was nothing much. Speaking of which, it was really useless. In an instant, a thought appeared in his mind. I want to sign in on the 3rd floor. Lin Fei had yet to sign in today. He had been waiting for this moment. Every day, he would only sign in at the last moment. He really didn't get anything good in this forbidden world. Things were different now. This was the 3rd floor. Whether or not they could obtain good things depended on this moment. Ding! Sign in level 3. Ancient Eternal Body Level 5. Lin Fei was slightly taken aback by this sign-in. He actually managed to sign in to the 5th level of the Ancient Eternal Body on the 3rd level. He really couldn't imagine it. He had already reached the 4th level, but he had never thought that he would reach the 5th level in the blink of an eye. This 3rd floor really gave him a big surprise. You really have to confirm that you will become the Lord of the World after leaving this 3rd floor. With this Lord of the World, you will have an immortal life. The illusory figure continued to speak. That bewitching smell was very obvious. Lin Fei had already obtained the 5th level of the Ancient Eternal Body at this time, so he didn't think too much about it. In his opinion, these things were all empty. He had become even stronger. "I'm sorry, but I choose to refuse." Whoosh! As soon as the voice fell, a black hole directly appeared. It enveloped Lin Fei. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared from the 3rd floor. Lin Fei could vaguely see that the phantom seemed to shake its head, looking very disappointed. It had been 100,000 years, and he was actually rejected. With a whoosh, the phantom disappeared. Lin Fei arrived outside the forbidden area in the blink of an eye. This was the 2nd floor. The familiar aura, the familiar figures. I didn't expect this phantom to be so stingy, asking me to leave directly. He didn't even give me anything. To be honest, it really surprised Lin Fei that it was so direct. It came out in an instant. This was different from what he had imagined. At the very least, it had to give him something. Speaking of which, Lin Fei was still quite surprised. Of course, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He could actually encounter such a thing. Lin Fei really didn't have the mood to be the Lord of the World. Now that he had reached the 5th level of the Ancient Eternal Body, it was even more different. His strength had improved greatly, and it was really earth-shaking. Lin Fei should be able to understand this feeling the best. After looking around, Lin Fei came to a mystic realm. This was some of the mystic realms in the 2nd floor, so it wasn't considered dangerous. It could be said that there was no threat at all. To him, he just found a cave abode and let go of his tricks. He started to consolidate the 5th level of the Ancient Eternal Body. The 5th level was indeed very different from the 4th level. The biggest difference was that Lin Fei's attacks had a trace of eternity to them. This trace of eternity could instantly stop all attacks. Although it didn't last for long, only 3 breaths, to Lin Fei, this was extremely important. No matter who it was, they would be able to withstand these 3 seconds of breathing. Especially after Lin Fei made his move, these 3 seconds were definitely fatal. At the same time, the number of black holes that he had cultivated started to increase in an instant. There were only a few at first, but in the blink of an eye, there were more than 10 black holes behind Lin Fei. These black holes could even fuse together to form a huge black hole, and this black hole even contained streams of attack power. The power of these attacks became even more obvious. It was as sharp as a blade. One could kill the enemy. Chapter 5067. Reaching the 5th level of the Ancient Eternal Body was completely different from what it was before. At least, Lin Fei could clearly feel it. If he were to encounter the people from Triple Black Sect again, things would not be so simple. He reckoned that they would not be able to withstand Lin Fei's attacks, even if they were to fight. Getting close to him was enough to make them feel despair. This was the difference between the Ancient Eternal Body and the previous 4th level. This level was truly a level of heaven. After consolidating for the 2nd half of the month, Lin Fei had completely mastered it. His entire person was very different. In the blink of an eye, he arrived at the 6th Absolute Palace. When he arrived at the 6th Absolute Palace, Lin Fei wanted to talk to Bai Shengnan about Bai Lai. He did not expect to sense Bai Lai's aura as soon as he arrived. Bai Lai had actually returned. In Lin Fei's opinion, Bai Lai would probably take some time to return. He did not expect him to return so quickly. His injuries were probably recovering well. Before Lin Fei entered, he heard Bai Lai's voice. Lin Fei entered the 6th Absolute Palace with a whoosh. He saw Bai Lai and Bai Shengnan in the courtyard. You came out so quickly. I thought you would stay in there for a long time. Lin Fei had indeed stayed in there for a while. It took him a lot of time just to find that place. Of course, this amount of time was nothing at all. Lin Fei sat down. I've reached the 3rd level, but it's really quite different. Bai Lai had indeed returned not long ago. However, outsiders did not know that he had returned. He had only sensed Lin Fei's aura around him earlier. After all, he controlled the 6th Absolute Palace, so his perceptive energy had been improved. That was why he had let Lin Fei in. He did not expect to hear such a thing. You're the world, Lord now. Bai Lai's heart skipped a beat. Lin Fei shook his head. I didn't go and become the master of this world because it's not that easy. I have to go and kill a 7-star divine master powerhouse. Do you dare to do it? I have no interest in becoming a master of this world. I've already told you before. Bai Lai was shocked. Lin Fei actually gave up such an opportunity. He did not sense the unique aura of a world lord from Lin Fei. It was an aura of submission, which meant that Lin Fei was right. He refused. How can you refuse? That's the master of a world. Even if he wants to kill a 7-star divine master, he will only do it after his strength has increased. Besides, reaching the level of a 7-star divine master is a lifelong dream. Bai Lai had no idea why Lin Fei would reject him. Lin Fei laughed out loud. Anyway, I have no interest in this world. I'll leave this world, Lord, to you. Hence, Lin Fei told Bai Lai about how to find the Forbidden Zone creatures. He casually grabbed it and condensed a special ball of light. This ball of light contained great karma. The great karma had already been compressed inside. As long as he activated it, he would be able to find the so-called 3rd level. At the very least, he would be able to find that Forbidden Zone creature. This is for you. With this, you will have a chance to find that Forbidden Zone creature. However, that Forbidden Zone creature is quite strong. When you enter, it will form a passage. Don't try it unless you are exceptionally strong or have a treasure. Bai Lai looked at the ball of light in front of him and did not know what to say. He did not expect that Lin Fei would really give up on the 3rd level and even tell him the way to enter. Bai Lai had already known about it previously. That Forbidden Zone creature should be the way to the 3rd level. However, he did not know which Forbidden Zone creature it was, not to mention that he could find the right direction. Now that Lin Fei had said this, coupled with this treasure, there was a 70% to 80% chance that he would be able to find that Forbidden Zone creature. I won't disturb you, father and daughter, any longer. I reckon that I will leave the great world of the gods soon. Hence, this time, he had come to bid farewell to Bai Lai. His purpose for coming was also quite simple. You're really going to leave? Bai Shangnan did not expect Lin Fei to be so straightforward. This world is boring, so I'm going to explore the starry sky outside. As soon as he came out of the 6th Absolute Hall, Lin Fei immediately returned to the Haoyue sect. To him, there was still one more person in the Haoyue sect, and that was the Blue Fairy. However, before returning to the Haoyue sect, Lin Fei felt that there was still one more thing he had to do. That was the Yellow Springs sect master and ancestor White Cloud. That fellow had schemed against them previously, but in the end, he had been taken away by them. This time, Lin Fei was prepared to capture both of them first. Otherwise, once he left the Haoyue sect, the Blue Fairy would not be able to handle the situation without him overseeing it. The first place that Lin Fei went to was the Yellow Springs sect master's hiding place. This fellow had been injured previously, so he had been recuperating in a place that was rather secretive. In the deepest part of a dangerous place, he had set up a series of formations, and not just anyone would be able to find it. However, it was impossible for Lin Fei to hide it all. Once he had a connection with the great karma technique, he would naturally be able to find him. The Yellow Springs sect master did not know how to hide it all. Then, Lin Fei came knocking on his door. From the deepest part of the secret realm, a hand pressed down. This pressure was earth-shattering. The Yellow Springs sect master, who had been in the cave abode, swayed, let out a muffled groan, and spat out blood. The cave abode collapsed in an instant, and the Yellow Springs sect master flew out. His mind was in a daze. Next, a huge hand came grabbing over. In the face of this huge hand, Yellow Springs hierarch had no way of resisting at all. All the power he had unleashed disappeared without a trace as he was grabbed over by the other party. Then he saw a familiar figure. Wasn't it the young man who chased her away last time? It's you. How did you become so strong? There was really no harm without comparison. The Yellow Springs sect master was actually inferior to the other party in just one encounter. She could still hold on last time, but this time it was too direct. Lin Fei smiled and pointed at the Yellow Springs sect master's body. This time, the Yellow Springs sect master's entire body collapsed. If you dare say another word, you're finished. After this, the Yellow Springs sect master did not dare to say another word. No one knew better than him that this finger had almost taken his old life. It was truly too terrifying. How could there be such a terrifying guy? Lin Fei grabbed the Yellow Springs sect master and left. He went straight to Ancestor Bayun. Ancestor Bayun was very quiet, and he went straight back to his sect. Lin Fei's figure passed through the sect's array and came to the study. Ancestor Bayun was fiddling with something in his hand, and he looked quite proud. Chapter 5068. Ever since old Ancestor Bayun was injured, he had escaped. He had not expected that fella to be so difficult to deal with. He did not expect the 6 Absolute Hall to have such an expert hidden. Bai Lai had tricked them. Both he and the Yellow Springs sect master were seriously injured. The Yellow Springs sect master had disappeared without a trace. No one knew where he had gone to recuperate. Old Ancestor Bayun returned to his sect. Only in his own sect could he feel safe. It took a long time for him to recuperate. Fortunately, he was lucky enough to encounter an opportunity. His injuries recovered relatively quickly. He even wanted to find the Yellow Springs sect master to see how his injuries were recovering. If he couldn't recover from his injuries, then he wouldn't mind killing this guy as well. This was because he still had many good things on him. If he used them to exchange, he should be able to exchange them for cosmos godstones in the starfield. A few hundred cubic meters still had a certain value. Hua! Old Ancestor Bayun heard a movement. It seemed like there was a fluctuation in the void. He raised his hand and slapped out. 5 streams of light came over. Each stream of light was different. It was the power of a treasure. Then a figure walked out. Another figure blocked in front of him. The Yellow Springs hierarch let out a blood-curdling scream as he withstood the 5 attacks. His voice made old Ancestor Bayun realize who it was. Yellow Springs sect master, why are you here? Who treated you as a meat shield? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. The Yellow Springs sect master's face turned pale from the attack. Fresh blood flowed out, and he lay on the side. Lin Fei's figure walked out. Old Ancestor Bayun, long time no see. I'm here to look for you. The 2 of you can be a pair. Lin Fei smiled. He raised his hand and grabbed. His 5 fingers pressed down like a mountain. Old Ancestor Bayun's pupils constricted. He actually saw this young man. This was the young man who gave him nightmares. He did not expect him to barge in. Their sex array formation did not move at all. There was no indication. Old Ancestor Bayun panicked. He seemed to understand. Why did the Yellow Springs cult master block in front of him just now? It turned out that he was taken down by this young man. You dare? I am now a member of the 3 Black sect. If you dare to capture me, the 3 Black sect will definitely tear you to pieces. His defense was immediately broken. However, this defense was completely useless. It shattered and fell to the ground. Then a hand reached down. It landed directly on Ancestor White Cloud's body. All of Ancestor Bayun's tricks were useless at this moment. Three Black Sect. Looks like you're pretty lucky to know such a sect. Lin Fei could not help but laugh. He had met someone from the Three Black Sect in the Forbidden Zone, but he had not expected to meet someone who had defected to the Three Black Sect here. Old Ancestor Bayun deserved to be the unlucky one. That's right, I've already joined the Three Black Sect and become their elder. If you don't want to die, let me go immediately and follow me to do great things. We'll control this world together, and you'll naturally enjoy endless benefits. Perhaps it was because of Lin Fei's words that Patriarch Bayun felt that the young man was frightened. After all, the Three Black Sect was a powerful sect in the outside world. It was not like this side. Therefore, the level of comparison was naturally different. The Three Black Sect could easily provide a large amount of resources. This was also the reason why he wanted to join them. As long as he helped them to do great things, there would naturally be endless benefits. After struggling for a while, he took out a token. It was a token of the Three Black Sect. As long as I crush it, they will receive the news and rush over immediately. I hope you don't do anything stupid. The Yellow Springs cult master was disheartened. He did not expect old Ancestor Bayun to be so cunning as to join the Three Black Sect. If he continued to interact with old Ancestor Bayun, he would not even know when he would be captured. Inexplicably, he felt a little lucky. If he was captured by this young man, at least he would have a way out. However, if he was captured by old Ancestor Bayun, it would be different. He would most likely be refined into a puppet. This was because old Ancestor Bayun had mastered many methods. If he fell into his hands, he would really be better off dead than alive. I really want to meet the people from the Three Black Sect. Please crush this thing. Otherwise, it will not be easy for me to meet them. The last time Lin Fei was in the Forbidden Zone, he had encountered them. They were quite strong. The four of them were able to restrict a creature from the forbidden area. If it was not for the black hole, his powerful divine body, and his strength, he would have probably missed this opportunity. For Lin Fei, the Three Black Sect was still quite fresh in his mind. However, he did not expect old Ancestor Bayun to join them. In this case, the first thing Lin Fei thought of was that he might be able to lure the four of them over again. Since the four of them had their eyes on old Ancestor Bayun, they naturally wanted the resources of the first and second floors. This was because this world did not have a world lord yet. As long as someone could become a world lord, they would be able to control this world. Even if there was no world lord, as long as there was a faction stationed here, it would be different. This could also explain one thing, and that was, why did those four people appear in that place? Lin Fei's fist landed on old Ancestor Bayun's body. When the fist landed, old Ancestor Bayun crushed the token under the intense pain. His face contorted. You're finished. You're finished. Once the people from the Three Black Sect come, you'll be torn to pieces. Old Ancestor Bayun knew the strength of the Three Black Sect. He could not defeat any one of them. Even if the young man in front of him was powerful, he could not possibly defeat them. They were the true experts of the Divine Master level. Their world did not even have a single Divine Master. Even if they did, they could only barely explode with the strength of a one-star Divine Master. Compared to them, the difference was too great. There was no way to compare them at all. Therefore, the Three Black Sect was no less than a scourge. No one could withstand their power. Old Ancestor Bayun knew that the young man was dead meat. No one would be able to save him. Lin Fei stretched out his hand and pulled old Ancestor Bayun out. Then he brought the Yellow Springs Hierophant with him. In the blink of an eye, they arrived at a secret area. This was not a dangerous place. He casually threw the two of them on the ground and sat down casually. Then he waited leisurely. As for how long they would take, he estimated that it would not take long. Still looking for the unrivaled king of Upgrade for free? Baidu directly searched. It was very simple. Chapter 5069. Inside the Forbidden Zone, a flying ship was moving at high speed. There were 4 people sitting on the flying ship. All four of them had strange expressions on their faces. That was because one of the tokens they had sent out had actually shattered. They remembered that the token was given to Ancestor Bayun from the god's great world. That person had the strength of a great perfection, superior god, which was close to the strength of a divine lord. Of course, such strength was not worth mentioning in their eyes. However, he was naturally one of the top existences in this world, apart from those few. That was why they wanted to rope him in. After all, this world did not have a world lord. Once they took over this world, it would be a great contribution to them. They would also be able to obtain some cosmos godstones. This was what they were looking forward to the most. That was why they valued Ancestor Bayun very much. In such a short time, Ancestor Bayun's token had shattered. This was not a good thing. In other words, Ancestor Bayun had most likely encountered trouble. They rushed over as soon as they could, not daring to stay at all for fear of missing the time. I wonder what trouble Ancestor Bayun has encountered. If he uses his token for such a small matter, I'll be the first to let him know what fear is. One of the middle-aged men snorted coldly. His face was still somewhat pale. This was from the last time they fought. He did not expect that the young man was so strong that he was at a disadvantage in close combat. The four of them were preparing to capture a Forbidden Zone creature in this Forbidden Zone, but they encountered a young man. In the end, the four of them were chased away by that young man. Speaking of this, their faces were filled with helplessness. Of course, more of it was resentment. They were so close to capturing the Forbidden Zone creature. This Forbidden Zone creature was very unusual. This was why they had attacked. Unfortunately, they were so close. No one would believe such a thing, even if they said it. Coincidentally, I've been suppressing a bellyful of anger. Let's find a few people to warm up. The four of them were indeed suppressing a bellyful of anger. Now that they heard that something had happened to Ancestor Bayun, they naturally vented their anger on the person who attacked. They wanted to let them know what it meant to live a life worse than death. Not long after, they entered the God Punisher Great World. Following these traces of clues, they found their way into the mystic realm, and they were suddenly enlightened. So it was in the secret realm. In that case, he might have encountered a powerful opponent. Ancestor Bayun was powerful, but he was helpless against two people of the same realm. Asking them for help had become a matter of course. The only thing that surprised them was that the arcane realm didn't seem to be very dangerous. So why would Ancestor Bayun send out a call for help? Could it be that he really encountered two opponents of the same cultivation level? That was the only way for them to activate the token. He's up ahead. I can sense Patriarch Bayun's aura. It's very different from before. He must have been seriously injured. He hurried to the place. As soon as he arrived, he saw Patriarch Bayun and the Netherworld Hierarch. They had some understanding of the most powerful beings in this world. Of course, it was Ancestor White Cloud who had told them about this, so they recognized the Netherworld Hierarch at a glance. Could it really be a lose-lose situation? No matter how they looked at it, it seemed like Ancestor Bayun's injury was more serious, while Hierarch Netherworld's injury was lighter. This made them wonder. It's been a while. I didn't expect it to be you guys. Looks like our luck is pretty good to meet you guys so soon. Right at this moment, a figure walked out. It was none other than Lin Fei. Looking at the four people in front of him, he couldn't help but smile. It was almost as he had guessed. It was very likely that it was these four people. The four of them also saw Lin Fei in an instant. They instantly showed resentment in their eyes, and they immediately attacked. So it's you, lad. You can't escape this time. So you're from this world. How could the four of them forget this lad? If it weren't for this lad, they wouldn't have been injured. They still had a belly full of anger. Fortunately, they had finally met him. At this moment, the four of them attacked. After all, they were 2-star Divine Masters and 3-star Divine Masters. Their strength was still very strong. A huge black hole appeared. It appeared behind Lin Fei. Most of the attacks were instantly diverted, and they landed on Lin Fei's body. Lin Fei didn't move, and his eyelids didn't twitch. He just stood there quietly. Your strength is indeed much stronger than last time, but I'm also stronger than last time. So, I can only say that you guys are out of luck. Naturally, they were confident that they would win when they attacked. Previously, they had been broken by this lad's joint attack. Coupled with the fact that there were creatures from the restricted zone, they didn't have much of an advantage. However, it was different now. This attack would definitely let this lad know what despair was. However, they felt despair as soon as they attacked. It wasn't the other party who felt despair, but them. The four of them had joined forces to attack, but they couldn't cause any harm to this lad. The black hole had swallowed most of the power, and the remaining power had actually made him not move at all. This made them feel a little uneasy. Whoosh! The attack in the black hole instantly erupted. As soon as the attack erupted, it covered the sky and the earth, and the rhythm of the four people was disrupted. Lin Fei also took advantage of the situation to attack. Hundreds of fist lights erupted, and in the blink of an eye, they were all sent flying. Lin Fei's strength was that of a melee fighter. When this attack erupted and at such a close distance, it was only natural that they couldn't withstand it, and they were all sent flying. It was only at this moment that they realized how serious their injuries were. They didn't have any ability to resist at all. The four of them fell to the ground in unison. Their injuries weren't just ordinary serious. Disbelief flashed in their eyes. They had lost just like that. The four of them, who were at the level of a divine master, couldn't do anything to this lad. A cold light instantly slashed their bodies. They were once again sent flying. With this slash, they could feel the aura of death. What do you think? Is it your turn to despair this time? Lin Fei pointed the blade in his hand at the four of them. The four of them didn't dare to move carelessly. Ancestor Baiyun, who had thought that Lin Fei was dead for sure, instantly fainted. It was really over, completely over. Why were the people from the 3 Black Gate so weak? This was completely different from what they had imagined. Chapter 5070. From the very beginning, Lin Fei had known that these were the 4 people from the 3 Black Gate. Otherwise, it would not have been such a coincidence. He had probably chased them away from the Forbidden Zone. They had come to this world by chance and finally found Ancestor Baiyun. Ancestor Baiyun had joined them, forming a karmic connection. By the time they arrived, Lin Fei was even more certain of his guess. With Lin Fei's current strength, which was almost at the level of a 5 elements divine master, he had suppressed all of them. They could not fight back at all. Lin Fei had not used his full strength. Otherwise, they would not have been able to withstand it. They would have been killed immediately. The 4 people from the Triple Black sect had indeed felt great terror. How long had it been? That young man had actually crushed them in a head-on fight. He had not even used his full strength, as if he was just warming up. It was really a slap to their faces. Facing this blade, they did not dare to have any thoughts. They did not even dare to move. They were afraid that if they moved, the blade would land on them. They would not even know how they died. Sir, we are from the 3 Black Gate. Aren't you afraid of incurring the wrath of our master by treating us like this? One of the 3 stars divine masters snorted coldly. Whoosh! With a flash of Lin Fei's blade, this divine master was killed. With one slash, the destructive power of the blade shattered him into pieces. If anyone else has any thoughts, feel free to speak. I will fulfill them one by one. Lin Fei looked calmly at the 3 people. At this moment, the 3 of them felt as if they had fallen into an ice cave. They all shook their heads. They did not dare to say a word. A 3 stars divine master had been killed, just like that. That's more like it. He's already a fish on the chopping board, and he still has the nerve to use the 3 Black Gate to threaten me. Isn't he just a 3 stars divine master? Then let him reincarnate and cultivate again. Lin Fei said, The Yellow Springs sect master and ancestor Bayun silently shut their mouths, looking at the ground in front of them. Even their faces were shut. They did not dare to listen to a word. He was afraid that if he listened to a few more words, he would invite a fatal disaster upon himself. All right, now each of you has a chance. If you answer well, you may live. If you don't, I'll send you on your way. It just so happens that you're from the same sect, so you'll have a companion on your way. They who had just heaved a sigh of relief instantly felt their scalps go numb. This was completely different from what they had imagined. This fellow's killing intent was too heavy. He wanted to kill their divine masters at the drop of a hat. If they had known that this fellow's strength improved so quickly, they wouldn't have dared to come even if they were given 100 guts. It was as if he had committed a sin. Now, tell me what the situation outside is like. Also, tell me what our star field looks like. Lin Fei was about to leave. Now that the people from the Three Black Sect had come knocking on their door, what could be better than having a few people who knew what was going on outside? As for Lin Fei, he had to ask them about it first. This was Lin Fei's tool. If a tool was not used well, it would not be a tool. The three of them didn't dare to hide anything. One by one, they started talking. However, what they said was different. Each of them talked about one aspect of the situation. After the three of them combined their stories, Lin Fei had a comprehensive understanding. These were the most ordinary things. After they finished talking, Lin Fei continued to interrogate them. Although Lin Fei didn't do anything, these people didn't dare to have any ideas. Even if it was some hearsay, they told him everything. It was extremely detailed, as if they had experienced it themselves. If there's one thing that's more popular recently, it should be the so-called Tenjin Temple. One of the 2-star divine masters was pale, and cold sweat was dripping down his face. He suddenly thought of something more important. The Tenjin Temple. Lin Fei had never heard of this place. However, it seemed that this Tenjin Temple was a little different. This Tenjin Temple is a top-notch treasure. I heard that owning this Tenjin Temple is equivalent to owning a moving treasure house. The Tenjin Temple has mastered the time technique and the space technique. It's almost a top-notch existence in these two aspects. Whoever gets the Tenjin Temple will be able to integrate time and space into one and become the strongest existence in an instant. Lin Fei listened quietly. Of course, he knew how powerful time and space were. When they were combined, it would be the power of time and space. It was really a fierce mess. I heard that this Tenjin Temple was created by the top-notch 9 stars divine master in our universe. He was also the first palace master of the Tenjin Temple. The three of them were very afraid when they talked about the Tenjin Temple. Of course, it was more like they were worshipping him. Lin Fei could see that, of course. To be able to become a 9 stars divine master was naturally a top-notch existence. It was not a realm that ordinary people could reach. Of course, for Lin Fei, it was only a matter of time before he reached this realm. This Tenjin Temple was quite interesting to Lin Fei. He listened for a while more. Lin Fei was also sure that what they said was correct. In other words, the Tenjin Temple will come out soon. The news outside is spreading like this. It seems that there are already powerhouses starting to track the whereabouts of the Tenjin Temple. When the time comes, it shouldn't be too far away. This was indeed good news for Lin Fei. He could give it a try. Even if he couldn't master the Tenjin Temple, he could still go inside and sign in once. This was the first thought that came to Lin Fei's mind when he heard the words Tenjin Temple. He could already obtain benefits on the 3rd level of this world, let alone a place like this. No matter what, he had to give it a try. Although he was now a 5 stars divine master, this realm was neither high nor low, but it was not conspicuous. After a series of repeated questions, Zhang Wuji's expression changed. They had nothing to say at all, and of course, they had no intention of lying. Lin Fei brought all 3 of them to the Haoyue sect. When the blue fairy saw the 3 of them, she felt a great deal of pressure. The three of them did not dare to have any thoughts at this moment, because on the way here they had already been tricked. The trick was extremely fierce. I won't kill you, after all, you are still of some use. However, since you dealt with me in the past, you will now stay in the Hauyuas sect and be worshipped for 1,000 years. When the three divine masters heard this, they heaved a sigh of relief. At least they did not have to worry about anything. At least they could keep their lives. This was more or less something that made them heave a sigh of relief. Chapter 5071. The Yellow Spring sect master and ancestor Bayun had also stayed in the Hauyuas sect. They had also become worshippers. There was no other way. In order to survive, the two of them could only become worshippers. Otherwise, they would have been killed by Lin Fei with a single slash. The Blue Fairy had not expected this to happen. The Hauyuas sect's strength had increased so much that it even had almighty worshippers. Even the Yellow Spring sect master and ancestor Bayun had become worshippers of the Hauyuas sect. All of a sudden, the strength of the Hauyuas sect had become the strongest existence in the great world. I will leave the Hauyuas sect to you. I have to go out for a while. This was what Lin Fei had told the Blue Fairy. Of course, before he left behind a few powerful forces, which could be considered as sealing forces. Each sealing force had the power of a 5-star almighty. No matter how strong a person was, as long as they did not exceed this realm, they could be killed instantly by a sealing attack. As for how the Blue Fairy would deal with this world, that was up to the Blue Fairy. Lin Fei did not think too much about it. If the Blue Fairy had that idea, Lin Fei would support it. He believed that Bai Lai could see that it would not be easy for him to enter that world, and it would be even more difficult for him to become the master of that world. Lin Fei knew this better than anyone else. That place wasn't that easy to find. Even if there was a karmic connection, it would take time and luck. Whether or not he could defeat the creatures of the Forbidden Zone was another matter. Therefore, Lin Fei was not worried about this. It was a dark and windy night. Lin Fei left the outside world right away. Right now, it was very easy for him to leave this world. As soon as he arrived in the starry sky outside, he felt that this starry sky was indeed different. Then he headed in a certain direction. The starry sky that Lin Fei was in was a small starry sky, and it was very small. There weren't many experts either, and the strongest among them were only 4 or 5-star divine masters. Of course, this level wasn't considered low, but it was different in some other powerful star fields. Only those star zones were strong enough, and they usually had 6 or 7-star divine masters. In comparison, Lin Fei's star domain seemed much smaller. The first place Lin Fei rushed to was a place called the 3 Moon Star region. According to the map, this place was the closest to where they were. Of course, it would take several years to get there. The strongest person in the 3 Moon Star field was a 7 stars divine master. Although they weren't at the top, they were already qualified, not to mention the forces behind them, because the Endless Sea was standing behind him. This force was very special. There were many hotshots in the Endless Sea who would dare to act rashly. Of course, Lin Fei didn't go to the Endless Sea this time. His target was the World Tower. You can buy a lot of information there. Lin Fei wanted to go to the Tenjin Temple, so he naturally had to go there to take a look. If he could find out the whereabouts of the Tenjin Temple along the way, that would be for the best. Of course, the possibility of this wasn't high, because according to what they said, the Tenjin Temple was faintly discernible in the depths of the void, and not everyone could encounter it. Therefore, he had to buy information. On the way to the 3 Moon Star region, Lin Fei spent 5 years, and this was considered a relatively fast speed. Of course, during these 5 years, he also did ordinary check-ins. He also obtained some scattered cosmos godstones. This was because, after leaving this world, he could sign in with cosmic godstones. This was the most common transaction currency. It was the most common because it was the most common. If there was a difference, it would be that the more precious ones were relatively rare. This was because the large cosmic godstone mining areas were controlled by the major forces, and not everyone could get their hands on them. There were also some special places that would produce cosmic godstones. These places were also controlled by some family forces. So every piece of cosmic godstone outside was very precious. Cosmic godstones weren't just used as a transaction currency. They were also a cultivation resource, especially for the physical body, which could improve one's physical body to a certain extent. This improvement wasn't very strong, but it could still allow an ordinary divine body to reach the level of an ordinary God Lord. Therefore, an ordinary God Lord's physical body was quite strong. As long as they had the financial resources, they would use these cosmic godstones to strengthen themselves. They weren't considered to be cultivators, but after their physical bodies became stronger, their combat strength would be much stronger than an ordinary God Lord's. Even if you were a 3-5-star God Lord, if your physical body wasn't strong enough and you encountered someone 2 or 3 realms lower than you, but the other party had good treasures and a strong physical body, you would be the one at a disadvantage. This kind of situation was common in the star region. They arrived at the 3-moon star region. Lin Fei could see the huge star region in front of him and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. After spending 5 years, they had finally arrived at the 3-moon star region. When they reached this region, they sensed that there were more people. It wasn't like this journey, where the people they had met were scattered. Fortunately, they didn't run into any danger along the way. After arriving at this star region, Lin Fei sensed many powerful auras. These powerful auras were all at the God Lord level, and there were even some faintly discernible auras that were filled with terror. He didn't even need to think to know that these were the famous 6-star God Lords and 7-star God Lords. This was because their life auras were completely different. This was something that could be clearly felt. Now that he was here, Lin Fei didn't stay idle. He headed straight for the world building. He dove into one of the worlds of the 3-moon star region. As soon as he entered, he sensed several powerful auras. If he wasn't wrong, they were all 7-star God Lords. Their auras were enough to make one's heart palpitate. This huge world was called the 100 Clouds World. When Lin Fei came down, he saw quite a few God Lords. Among these God Lords, there were strong and weak ones. This kind of strength wasn't considered strong, and it was the most conspicuous in this place. During these 5 years, Lin Fei's physical body didn't improve much. It only improved by about 10% or 20%. This kind of progress was actually considered fast. He found an inn and booked a courtyard. Lin Fei left early and returned late. A few days later, he arrived at the world building. This was also a unique force in the star region. He didn't get involved in anything, but this world always had unique information. If you wanted to get this information, you had to pay with universe godstones. It was that simple. The more universe godstones you paid, the more top-notch information you could get. You got what you paid for. You got what you paid for. You got what you paid for. In this circle, this was fair. Chapter 5072. This was the first time Lin Yunfei entered a place like the World Tower. As soon as he entered, he felt different. This was a unique space. He had to admit that the World Tower was indeed very confident. Not everyone dared to enter a place like this. As soon as he came here, he felt that the entire space-time was different. If anyone dared to cause trouble here, Lin Fei felt that he would be suppressed as soon as he made a move. This place was more unusual than he imagined. The place where Lin Fei entered was a large hall. There weren't many people here. Even if there were, they were all dressed in black robes, and their faces couldn't be seen clearly. Even their bodies were shrouded in treasures. One could imagine that the people who came in were a little impatient. Of course, they also had some status and didn't want to expose themselves easily. The purpose of Lin Fei's trip was quite simple. He wanted to find out where the Tenjin Temple was. He wanted to see if he could catch up to it. After all, Lin Fei had a certain amount of wealth now. He could more or less take out some cosmos godstones. After observing for a while, Lin Fei knew that the World Tower was indeed a little different, because there were small rooms not far away. Each small room seemed to be an independent space. Lin Fei walked into an independent small space. The moment he entered, it was really a small place. It was a unique space. There was no one inside, just a black fog in front of him. Lin Fei sat down casually. Then a voice came from the opposite side. "Sir, what kind of information do you want?" "Our World Tower has what you want." "Of course. You can also sell the information to us. We can convert the information into a certain amount of cosmos godstones according to the value of the information." He wasn't surprised at all about this. After all, the World Tower didn't just sell information. It also received information. Otherwise, how could they have so much information? Some people would naturally sell some information here, even if they sold it for a certain amount of cosmos godstones. "I want to know about the location of the Tenjin Temple. I wonder how much it will cost." Lin Fei also knew that if he wanted to improve his strength, he naturally had to go to some special places to sign in. Maybe we can get something good. Therefore, the Tenjin Temple was a direction that should be considered. "We sell 10 cubic meters of cosmos godstones for information regarding the whereabouts of the Tenjin Temple." The price of 10 cubic meters was not cheap. Lin Fei also knew that cosmos godstones were scarce. Ordinary people really did not have many cosmos godstones on them. Only those big powers had it, so some second-generation young masters were extraordinarily wealthy. Fortunately, over the past 5 years, Lin Fei had accumulated a few blocks of godstones. He roughly calculated that he had about 10 blocks of godstone. "Then I'll have one." Lin Fei took out 10 universe godstones. Although he had signed in, he hadn't received many in the past few years. Now, after the news of the exchange, Lin Fei suddenly became penniless. He was thinking that he had to find something in the future to see if he could exchange for these universe godstones. Otherwise, he would be extremely poor. Fortunately, it was 10 cubes. If there were more, it would be dangerous. "Wait a moment. I'll send it over right away." After some time, a jade talisman flew over. The jade talisman landed in front of Lin Fei, and a voice came. "This jade talisman contains information about the location of the Tenjin Temple. However, this was the situation 2 days ago. You have to be mentally prepared. The jade talisman will be destroyed after you finish reading it." 2 days ago. Lin Fei was stunned. "I'm screwed." The information sold by the world building was indeed different. If he had known earlier, he would have added an extra sentence. Fortunately, he didn't. Otherwise, 10 universe godstones wouldn't be able to buy such information. As long as he knew the general location, it would be fine. For Lin Fei, he could still rush over in time. The jade talisman indeed recorded the movement traces of the Tenjin Temple in great detail. After Lin Fei saw it, he was surprised and a little emotional. The location of the Tenjin Temple was a little far. It seemed that it would be a little troublesome if he wanted to go to the location of the Tenjin Temple, because it wasn't in this star field. It was in another star field. After coming out of the world building, Lin Fei started to ponder. There were 2 ways to reach other star fields. One was to fly over. He didn't know how long it would take for him to reach there. The other way was to use the star field teleportation. This required a certain amount of universe godstones. Right now, what Lin Fei lacked the most was universe godstones. This wasn't a good thing. Lin Fei laughed bitterly. He headed to another place. This time he not only learned about the world building, but he also learned about some other places. Not long after, Lin Fei arrived in front of a huge palace. This place was a little different from the world building. There were more people going in and out of it. Demon Hunter Hall. This was the place that Lin Fei came to. This Demon Hunter Hall was different from other places, because this place's biggest function was to accept missions here. There were high-level missions. There were also low-level ones. One could exchange for a certain amount of universe godstones. Therefore, this Demon Hunter Hall was a special place in the star field. They only gave out various kinds of missions. It was said that this Demon Hunter Hall was supported by a 9-star God Master. This was the only way they could afford to open a Demon Hunter Hall. This was the news that Lin Fei received. He came to the Demon Hunter Hall directly. He didn't have any universe godstones on him. He could only earn universe godstones in the Demon Hunter Hall. He just had to register as a member of the Demon Hunter Ground. Lin Fei came to the Demon Hunter Hall. There were more people here. Compared to the World Tower, it was a completely different performance. Lin Fei first went to register as a member of the Demon Hunter Ground. The members here were divided into different levels. From 1-star member to 10-star member. The higher the level, the higher the missions. For low-level members, there was a limit to the number of missions they could accept. Of course, if you were confident in yourself, you could pay a certain price to accept a certain number of missions. After registering, Lin Fei came to the place to accept missions. There were many workers here. May I know what mission you are planning to accept? Because you are a 1-star member, you can only accept missions between 1-star and 3-star missions. This was the limit for low-level members. After all, even if you accepted high-level missions, you might not be able to complete them. I would like to ask which missions are the fastest way to earn universe godstones. Of course, it's okay if it's a little dangerous. Lin Fei was straightforward. Chapter 5073. Lin Fei wanted to get his hands on the Cosmos Godstone now. As long as he could get his hands on the Cosmos Godstone, it didn't matter even if it was a little dangerous. After all, his body was still relatively strong. At the very least, he could go to ordinary places. Not to mention, he was a black hole. He could absorb attacks. He was more efficient than anyone else. The moment Lin Fei said this, the person seemed to understand what he meant. Hence, he smiled and said, I wonder if you are brave enough. I just don't know if you have the guts. If you do, I have a deal for you. Please speak. It doesn't matter even if it's a little dangerous. I'm not good at other things, but I'm pretty brave. Lin Fei said. The person smiled and said, Recently we received a commission. We need someone to explore a mystic realm. The reward is quite a lot of Cosmos Godstones. Explore a mystic realm? Wasn't this the same logic as cannon fodder? This was the first thought that came to Lin Fei's mind. I wonder how many Cosmos Godstones they're offering. They said that as long as the route is good and clear, they can offer a price of around 50 cubic meters. The highest price is 50 cubic meters as long as your map is good. This price surprised Lin Fei a little. Of course, he knew that the price of 50 cubes was not low, especially since the price of 50 cubes was indeed not low. Ordinary missions, especially 1-star to 3-star missions, would only offer a few cubic meters. 10 cubic meters was already considered good. Now that the highest price was 50 cubic meters, Lin Fei was indeed surprised. He also knew that this mission wouldn't be easy. They also said that as long as I'm willing to explore, I can get 10 cubic meters of Cosmos Godstones immediately. Just this alone made Lin Fei a little tempted. Lin Fei didn't decide if he had to go or not. Instead, the person started talking again. They also said that as long as you enter, everything you obtain inside will belong to you. I heard that there are even some treasures that can be exchanged for a certain amount of Cosmos Godstones. That place isn't a place that just anyone can enter because it's controlled by a great force. That's right. These words instantly moved Lin Fei. The value of a few dozen cubes really didn't move Lin Fei at all. However, things would be different if the treasures inside could be exchanged for universe godstones. This gave Lin Fei some motivation. Other things were not as cost-effective as this. Lin Fei also did some calculations. His physical body was quite strong. With the addition of this black hole, things would naturally be different. Even if there was a danger at the level of a 6-star Divine Master, he would still be able to withstand it. At the very least, he would not be killed in a flash. Therefore, this place was still worth visiting. The other party was not in a hurry, seemingly waiting for Lin Fei's reply. Lin Fei gritted his teeth. I'm going to this place. I don't know when I can leave. There will be a certain amount of danger after you enter that place. You have to think about it carefully. I've already notified my superiors, so you have to go. It was easy to imagine how many Cosmos Godstones he could take out. No problem, I'm willing to go. That was all. Lin Fei received this mission. At the same time, he also had a gathering place. He could gather there in 5 days. This meant that Lin Fei still had 5 days of free time. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. Lin Fei arrived at the gathering place. This was a courtyard. This courtyard looked rather ordinary. When he walked in, he realized that there were many people inside. They were all around 2-star, 3-star, and 4-star abilities. Most of them were 2-star, and there were not many 3-star and 4-star abilities. Lin Fei walked the tempered body Dao, so he naturally couldn't see the changes in his abilities. When they saw Lin Fei enter, they retracted their gazes. Everyone stood on their own and didn't talk to each other. Lin Fei had been here for an hour. Then it was time. In the blink of an eye, there were dozens of people in the courtyard, almost reaching 100 people. Just this alone would cost them a lot of Cosmos Godstones. If that was the case, then this faction was really rich. In Lin Fei's opinion, they might have to go through a short test. Otherwise, these 100 people would cost almost 1,000 cubes of Cosmos Godstones, which was a huge sum. Ordinary 2-star and 3-star Cosmos Godstones were worth a few dozen cubes, and that was already not bad. Having 100 cubes was already considered a small fortune. Welcome, everyone. I'm Elder Gao of the Mystical Hall. This time it's our Mystical Hall that needs your help to enter the Mystic Realm and explore the path inside. Everyone will be able to obtain 10 Cosmos Godstones. When they came, they didn't know what the faction was called, but now that they heard it, their expressions changed. No wonder they were so rich. So it was the Mystical Palace, a first-rate faction. A top-notch faction had to have a 9-star Divine Lord, while a first-rate faction had to have an 8-star Divine Lord Expert. As for second-rate factions, they naturally had 7-star Divine Lords. So they were naturally shocked. Lin Fei wasn't a rookie, so he had naturally heard of this first-rate faction. At the very least, it didn't matter if you didn't remember the names of second-rate factions, but you had to have some understanding of first-rate factions. Otherwise, it would be quite troublesome. No wonder they're so rich. It's the Mystical Palace. This time, they're really not afraid of not getting Cosmos Godstones. That's right. When I came, I thought it was some small place. So it's the first-rate faction, the Mystical Palace. Elder Gao just stood there quietly, letting everyone talk for a while. Only then did he speak, unhurriedly. Now, I will give everyone 10 cubes of Cosmos Godstones. The high-ranking elder of the Mystical Palace immediately began to distribute them. Therefore, everyone received 10 cubic meters of Cosmos Godstones. One could tell that this force was very rich and overbearing. Once everyone received the Cosmos Godstones, Elder Gao continued to speak. This is a blank jade talisman. All you have to do is enter a secret realm and search for the path inside. This secret realm is quite mysterious, and of course, there will be a certain amount of danger. All you have to do is search for the path. If you encounter any danger you can't withstand, you will naturally be able to come out. The Mystical Palace does not force anyone to ask for help. Of course, some treasures will appear inside, and our Mystical Palace will purchase them. Everyone was clearly even more excited. Lin Fei had thought that there would be a small test. He hadn't realized that he was overthinking. There was nothing at all. He could also see that the Mystical Palace was probably determined to obtain this secret realm. That was why they had gathered here. However, The danger inside was probably more terrifying than they had imagined. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here. Dozens of Cosmos Godstones. This was no small number. The error-free chapter of Unrivaled King of Leveling will continue to be updated on Handheld Bar. There will be no advertisements on the site, so please bookmark and recommend Handheld Bar. Those who like Unrivaled King of Leveling, please bookmark. Unrivaled King of Leveling, Handheld Bar, updates the fastest. Chapter 5074. The Mystical Palace was quite capable. They actually had a space-time transfer array. Lin Fei was no newbie. Naturally, he knew that not everyone had a space-time transfer array. It was said that only first-rate factions had them. The Mystical Palace had the right to be arrogant. Once the space-time transfer array was activated, they were instantly transported to another galaxy. After another half a month, they entered a mystic realm that was sealed by a huge array. Inside, they had witnessed the capabilities of the Mystical Palace. They were indeed very strong. There were even experts guarding this place. There were 3 6-star god lords guarding this place. Coupled with this huge array, even a 7-star god lord would not dare to barge into this array. The name of the Mystical Palace was enough to make many people feel pressured. Elder Gao brought the group to the entrance of a mystic realm. There were a few god lords at the entrance of the mystic realm. They saw them as well. This is the mystic realm that you will be entering. Later, you will be able to draw the path inside. The clearer it is, the more Cosmos Godstones you will receive. I hope that you will seize the opportunity. The god lords immediately opened the entrance of the mystic realm. It turned out that the entrance of the mystic realm was sealed by an array. At first glance, it seemed that they could enter, but in reality they had been stopped. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One by one, the figures rushed in an instant. After all, this was the Mystical Palace. They did not dare to have any other thoughts. It was better to go in and complete the task first. Lin Fei was one of them. He quickly entered as well. After entering, several god lords stood guard at the entrance. Elder Gao looked at the people entering and said calmly, "I wonder if we can draw the path inside this time. If we can't, I don't know how long it will take." Another voice followed. "That will depend on luck. This mystic realm is more dangerous than we imagined. They must be mentally prepared to take these Cosmos Godstones. After all, the Cosmos Godstones of the Mystical Palace are not that easy to take." All of them had been guarding this place for quite some time, and they had discovered this mystic realm for quite some time. However, they had not gained anything so far. They did not dare to enter carelessly. Even the 5-star god lords who entered came out injured. He didn't dare to enter rashly before he had a thorough understanding of the situation. Even a 6-star divine master would be at a disadvantage if they went in, unless they were 7-star divine master. 7-star divine masters were the pillars of a sect. There was no way they would recklessly enter a mystic realm. The best way was to entrust some people who were not afraid of death for money. Since he had taken their benefits, he naturally had to enter. He understood this logic. This time, a few dozen people might be able to find something. They were looking forward to it. This time, there were more people than before. Fortunately, they had sealed the news. Otherwise, ordinary people wouldn't dare to come because they didn't have the guts. Their mystical sky palace was rather particular about the rules. That was why they came up with this commission. If not for this commission, they would have used someone else. Hualala, hualala. As soon as Lin Fei entered, he found himself in a dark swamp. The swamp didn't look small. The people who came in with him were also a little confused about this place. So. Streaks of light flew out from the swamp, and a few unlucky fellows were instantly pierced by these streaks of light. They turned into white skeletons. This scene instantly frightened everyone present, causing their expressions to change drastically. One after another, they fled in all directions. They finally realized that cosmic godstones weren't that easy to obtain. At this time, they had to find a safe place first. Otherwise, they wouldn't even know when they would die. Lin Fei was also attacked by many streaks of light. After leaving the swamp, the 100 or so people who entered basically disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lin Fei also knew why they had to pay such a high price. This place was indeed quite dangerous, much more dangerous than he had imagined. It seems like the cosmic godstones in this place aren't that easy to obtain. Drawing a route is indeed as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Lin Fei was already outside. It was also gray outside, and corpses could be seen everywhere. One could imagine. This place was more terrifying than he had imagined. Of course, Lin Fei was a little excited. The more dangerous a place was, the greater the opportunity for him. As long as he could draw a good route, he could exchange it for a lot of cosmic godstones. He believed that the mysterious Void Temple would be willing to pay. Of course, Lin Fei could also find some treasures inside. That way, he would be able to exchange them for cosmic godstones. When the time came, he would have a chance to search for the Tenjin Temple. After all, that place was what Lin Fei cared about the most. After mastering that place, he might be able to enter and sign in. His strength would increase. Although it was considered a shortcut, there were still benefits to it. I want to sign in here. Lin Fei immediately used his sign in. He had always been thinking about it. He didn't expect to come here today. This place looked a little strange and was suitable for signing in. This was also a small trick that Lin Fei had figured out himself. Ding! Sign in successful at the Holy Land of Reincarnation. Received map of reincarnation. The sudden sign-in reward surprised Lin Fei. It can't be. I actually obtained a map of reincarnation. This is the Holy Land of Reincarnation. No wonder it's so dangerous. Lin Fei was really surprised. The people from the mysterious Void Temple outside hadn't obtained a complete map yet. Instead, he obtained one. Moreover, this place was actually called the Holy Land of Reincarnation. It seemed that the people outside more or less didn't know about it. They felt that this place was at most dangerous and had a certain value. That was why they found someone to draw a map. Lin Fei also took out the map immediately. As soon as he took it out, Lin Fei knew what was going on. His position was indeed at the outermost circle. It was more dangerous to go in. This Holy Land of Reincarnation was completely different from what he had imagined. Without a map, it was impossible to walk inside. It was like there was only one entrance to the next level. In other words, no matter how many people the mysterious Void Temple found, without a certain amount of luck, it would be impossible to find the entrance. Everyone would be cannon fodder. Even Lin Fei himself was shocked beyond belief. To be able to encounter such a thing, Lin Fei seemed to have found the best way to sign in. That was to go to some particularly dangerous places to sign in. He might be able to get an unexpected reward. Chapter 5075. Speaking of which, Lin Fei himself was quite surprised. He never thought that this would be a place like the Holy Land of Reincarnation. Moreover, he got a map on the first day of signing in. It was really too surprising. With this map, he could go inside. He could dig out any treasures. As for contributing this map, Lin Fei didn't have such thoughts for the time being. If this force had other thoughts, he would be finished. At the very least, it wouldn't be easy for Lin Fei to explain. Even if he were to draw it, he would only draw a part of it. When the time came, the rest would be in his hands. Now, Lin Fei wanted to see if there were any good things inside. That was the most important thing. In the blink of an eye, Lin Fei went all the way inside. There were indeed many dangers inside, one after another. But Lin Fei could easily avoid all of them, because there were certain markings on the map. There were some traps in some places, and they were very obvious. Lin Fei easily passed some people. Those people weren't as lucky as Lin Fei. If they weren't tricked by traps, they would have encountered some powerful means and would have been killed on the spot. Voila! Lin Fei entered the second floor. There were a total of 5 floors here. The first, second, and third floor belonged to the outermost 3 floors. There were no treasures or anything. Even if there were no treasures, there were still some valuable things in some places. Lin Fei followed the markings and searched all the way. Along the way, he really saw some special places. There were also some treasures left behind, which were deliberately placed here. Now, they were all given to Lin Fei. Lin Fei didn't stand on ceremony, relying on his powerful physical body. He directly destroyed the treasures and got them. Basically, every item was worth dozens or hundreds of cubes. This kind of harvest made Lin Fei smile from ear to ear. He really came to the right place this time. If the mystical palace outside knew about this, who knew what kind of thoughts they would have? They would probably want to commit suicide. He let a big fish in. Lin Fei went from the 2nd level to the 3rd level. When he reached the 4th level, the difficulty was a little higher. Some methods, some restrictions, were scattered all over this place. After arriving here, the surroundings became exceptionally quiet. There was no one left. Lin Fei also became extra careful. Even with this map, it wasn't easy to break into the innermost area. It took him half a month to reach the end of the 4th floor. However, when he reached the end, Lin Fei was a little dumbfounded. If one wanted to enter the 4th floor, they would need a certain token. In other words, only those with inheritances could enter the 5th floor. Lin Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How could such a thing happen to him? I thought I would be able to enter the innermost layer and loot everything. But it seems like I was a little foolish. Since it's the sacred land of reincarnation, there must be some inheritance here. I guess it's for the inheritors. Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. This wasn't a good thing. It was really troublesome. He also obtained 3 treasures on the 4th floor. These 3 treasures were worth about 1,000 cubes each. In other words, Lin Fei could obtain thousands of cubes of cosmic godstones on this trip. This was already a huge harvest. If he pooled it, he could reach 10,000 cubes of cosmic godstones. This was not a small number. It could be said that he had some wealth. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was a tycoon. Why don't I wait a little longer and see what I can sign in tomorrow? I remember that I can get good things from signing in a period of time in any place. Anyway, the people outside don't expect me to get out. Lin Fei looked at the stone door in front of him thoughtfully. Even if he went all out, he couldn't break the stone door because there was a special restriction on it. In any case, Lin Fei couldn't open it. It was that simple. In other words, he had to have an inheritor to open it. This meant that the 5th floor definitely had good things. Lin Fei felt that he should wait a little longer. He wanted to see what else he could get from signing in. Other than signing in a map on the first day, he didn't get anything else. In other words, the 1st to 4th floors were actually ordinary. However, the 5th floor was different. At this point, it would be a pity if he didn't enter the 5th floor. At the same time, the expressions of the elders of the mystical palace outside turned a little ugly. This batch of people who went in came back one after another. However, not many came back. Only about 30% of the people inside. The routes that he brought out were basically all messed up. None of them looked presentable. They could only infer that they were still in the outermost area. It seems like there's still one who hasn't come out. I remember it's a young man. Nearly a month had passed. The first batch of people who went in had basically all come out. However, they still remembered that there was a young man who hadn't come out. That young man probably died inside long ago. Even these people came out. This person is really unlucky. It seems like we have to prepare a new batch of people. Elder Gao was also very helpless. He didn't expect this batch of people to be completely wiped out. In that case, they could only continue to recruit the second batch of people. Apart from this method, they really couldn't think of any other way. Lin Fei kept signing in at the entrance of the 4th floor. However, the things he signed in were all inconspicuous, which really made him quite unhappy. He couldn't enter. Several places on the 4th floor had been circled, and everything that could be harvested had been harvested. However, he still couldn't enter the final door. This confirmed the guess in his heart. Forget it, forget it. It seems like I won't have that chance. In the blink of an eye, 1.5 months had passed. Lin Fei knew that he couldn't enter the 5th floor at all. He didn't have that fate. To be able to obtain a map, it was considered extremely good. Now he just had to go out and get some universe godstones. He wanted to see if there were any other places like this. Of course, the first thing he had to do was to find the Tenjin Temple. This was the place that Lin Fei yearned to go to the most. If he missed this opportunity, he didn't know when he would get another one. Lin Fei went from the 4th floor to the 3rd floor, from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor. As soon as he entered, he could clearly feel an aura appearing on this floor. He frowned slightly. It can't be. Someone actually came to the 1st floor. Logically speaking, it's impossible. It's impossible to find the 2nd floor without a map. Even a blind cat bumping into a dead dog isn't that easy. Lin Fei was strong, so he could naturally feel that someone had indeed entered this floor. If that was the case, it would have been fine. However, this person kept walking inside, and this path seemed to lead to the 3rd floor. Chapter 5076. At first, Lin Fei didn't pay much attention to this figure. As he moved, Lin Fei's expression changed a lot. He had never thought that this figure would actually head for the 3rd floor. Lin Fei had figured it out just now. Why would there be someone on this floor? If there were no surprises, it should be the people that the Xiankong Palace had brought last time had returned empty-handed. Hence, they found another group of people. Lin Fei knew very well how dangerous this place was. He had a map in his hands, so there wouldn't be many people who could make it out alive. Hence, the Xiankong Palace had to find people to draw the route. This was to prove whether this place was dangerous or not. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floors shouldn't be too much of a problem. However, the 4th floor would be very dangerous. In particular, the entrance to the 3rd floor wasn't that easy to pass. The Xiankong Palace had to find people continuously so that they would have a greater chance to investigate the situation inside. After a long time, they should be able to understand the 1st to 4th floors. However, that would take a very long time. Now, someone had come to the 2nd floor by accident and was now heading to the 3rd floor. Lin Fei immediately understood. Perhaps this was the successor of the reincarnation sacred land. In fact, this person might even be qualified to obtain the treasures inside. A smile finally appeared on Lin Fei's face. I can wear out iron shoes in fruitless searching, only to find it by chance. Another person actually came, and this person is very likely to be the successor. In that case, I won't stand on ceremony. Lin Fei, who was about to leave, immediately followed. This person wasn't weak. In Lin Fei's opinion, he had concealed some of his strength. Furthermore, he was a 4-star cultivator. He should be at the peak level. He didn't stop much along the way. He seemed to be very familiar with this floor. If there were no surprises, he should be guided by the treasures. After reaching the 3rd floor, he headed for the 4th floor. They had encountered a lot of trouble along the way. Lin Fei had been following them in the dark and hadn't made a move at all. Of course, if he really couldn't block them, he would pretend to be a good guy and intervene once. This way, he would be able to advance to the 4th floor. Perhaps he would be able to enter it if he seized that sliver of an opportunity. This was Lin Fei's method. Of course, Lin Fei could also make a move and take away his legacy item. That was also a method. He felt that since this place was so special, the inheritance treasures would not be so easily obtained. Big shots would also have their own plans, so Lin Fei still chose the latter path. It would be better to be like the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. This possibility was relatively easy, and he wouldn't have to take too much risk. Lin Fei was in no hurry. Not long later, as expected, the other party reached the end of the 4th level. It was much easier than finding it on his own. Of course, it still took him a month to find it. A black-haired young man seemed especially excited upon arriving. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha 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 ha. I've finally found the sacred land of reincarnation. The mystical palace outside is a bunch of fools. And you people, just wait and see. After I inherit the reincarnation emperor's techniques, I'll definitely make you pay with your blood. This person's voice was especially loud, as if he was venting his dissatisfaction. Even Lin Fei, who was far away, could feel it. This voice was filled with hatred, and it sounded like he was gnashing his teeth. He didn't even need to guess to know that this guy was probably carrying a blood feud. It turned out that the owner of the sacred body of reincarnation was called the Reincarnation Emperor. Lin Fei didn't know, but since he dared to call himself the Emperor, his strength should have reached the level of a 9-star divine master. He should have been a top-notch existence in this universe. Even if he couldn't reach the level of a 9-star divine master, he should be at the peak of an 8-star divine master. Lin Fei felt that the former was more likely. Such an expert would definitely have left behind something good on the last level. Now that the opportunity was right in front of him, he couldn't miss it. This young man in front of him was definitely the inheritor. He was 100% sure. He was smart enough to know how to use the opportunity to earn universe godstones to come to the sacred land of reincarnation. The people from the mystical palace had really miscalculated this time. They probably didn't even know that a person with ulterior motives had snuck into the crowd. After this black-haired young man laughed, he seemed to have vented a lot of his emotions. He took out a sword talisman that looked like a sword. When this sword talisman was taken out, Lin Fei's eyes narrowed slightly. He could feel the terrifying aura that exploded from this sword talisman. Even though it was just a flash, Lin Fei could feel it clearly. This was definitely a terrifying sword talisman. Luckily, I didn't attack. Otherwise, this sword talisman would have at least the level of a 7-star divine master. This is a protective talisman. From the beginning, Lin Fei had felt that this place was unusual. Otherwise, the first-rate forces from the mystical palace wouldn't have kept their eyes on it. They had even set up an array outside to seal this place. One could imagine that this place was far more powerful than he had imagined. Therefore, this inheritor must have had some powerful treasures on him. Even a sword talisman like this would be enough to protect him. When this sword talisman was taken out, it gave off a dazzling light. Beams of light instantly turned into a huge talisman that landed on the stone door. The stone door, which had been motionless all this while, finally moved. The black-haired young man's eyes were filled with wild joy. He didn't even notice that there was someone behind him. So this is the only way to open the stone door. No wonder I couldn't find it, even after trying so hard. It requires a certain token to open it. Realization dawned on him. Fortunately, the stone door was finally going to open. The free opportunity was finally here. All he had to do was to enter the stone door the moment it opened. When this talisman landed on the stone door, it instantly turned into nothingness. Then a door appeared just like that. The black-haired young man walked straight in. Just as he was about to enter, a figure followed him in. The time that this door had been maintained was not very long. For Lin Fei, this was enough. With his physical body fully unleashed, he easily came up. As soon as he entered, Lin Fei instantly felt a repulsive force fall on him. It seemed to be external. However, Lin Fei's black hole instantly absorbed this layer of resistance. He persevered. When he looked again, he found that the young man was nowhere to be seen. He must have gone to the depths of the palace. This didn't matter to Lin Fei at all. He silently said, "Sign in his heart." Chapter 5077. He finally entered. Of course, he had to sign in first. It would be a waste if he didn't /T sign in. This was the last level. If it weren't /T for that kid, how could he have entered the last level of the holy land of reincarnation? It was indeed mysterious. Even the power from before couldn't /T shake the stone door. He didn't /T expect a sword talisman to be able to enter so easily. No one would believe him even if he said it out loud. Ding! Sign in successful on the 5th level of the Holy Land of Reincarnation. Received 10 Reincarnation Essence Souls. When the reward for signing in came out, Lin Fei immediately got goosebumps. He actually received such a reward, 10 Reincarnation Essence Souls. One had to know that most of the current cultivation system was based on spells. Of course, there were also body tempering. There were also more powerful essence, soul, cultivators. Lin Fei had encountered some essence, soul powerhouses previously. Relying on their essence souls, they were indeed quite terrifying. These essence souls could explode with a single thought and turn into a force that was difficult to resist. The other party could also cultivate it back in an instant. This was the strength of an essence soul. However, there were in /T that many who could become essence soul powerhouses. Because it was too difficult, there were strong and weak essence soul powerhouses. The weaker ones could only cultivate a few primordial spirits, while the stronger ones could cultivate dozens or hundreds of primordial spirits. But now there were 10 reincarnation essence souls, which surprised Lin Fei. After a majestic stream of light flowed in his body, Lin Fei also mastered the reincarnation essence soul. At first, he thought that the reincarnation essence soul was ordinary, but in the blink of an eye, he realized that it was really different. This reincarnated primordial spirit was really different. It was far more powerful than he had imagined. So it turns out that 10 reincarnation essence souls can build a reincarnation array. Within this reincarnation array, each reincarnation can reduce the opponent /S strength. At least 40 to 50% of the opponent /S strength will be reduced. Lin Fei was astonished by such a miraculous effect. He seemed to understand how powerful the reincarnation emperor was. He didn't /T expect there to be such a reincarnation array that could reduce the opponent /S strength, and there were only 10 of them. The reincarnation primordial spirit was extremely difficult to cultivate. Not everyone could cultivate it, and it required a long period of time. It could be said that he had ascended to the heavens in a single step, as he had directly grasped the reincarnation emperor's most powerful technique. These reincarnated primordial spirits were not very strong. However, when the 10 reincarnation primordial spirits came together, they formed a reincarnation formation. This was different. In any case, signing in was really a joy for Lin Fei. Such a reincarnation array could indeed allow Lin Fei to do a lot of things. With a single thought, these 10 reincarnated primordial spirits directly entered the void, leaving no trace of their existence. The 10 reincarnated primordial spirits even had a trace of space-time power. Therefore, they were like fish returning to the ocean in the void. They were not obstructed at all. Lin Fei did not hesitate for long and immediately chased after it. He was ready to see what was in this last level. Not to mention, signing in for 10 reincarnation primordial souls caused his strength to undergo a huge change. At the very least, those who wanted to fight him had to be extremely strong. Otherwise, once the reincarnation array was activated, their strength would be reduced. They were no match for Lin Fei. Not to mention, this person wasn't /T as strong as he imagined. Although there was such a treasure, in Lin Fei /S opinion, it shouldn't to be difficult to take him down. In fact, it could even be said to be very simple. He chased all the way here. He saw a few words in the palace in front of him. Reincarnation. This reincarnation was like a vortex. Lin Fei /S heart trembled and he immediately escaped. These were indeed terrifying words. He also knew that the young man must be inside. He chased after him in an instant. At the same time, the primordial spirits in his body. They were originally placed in the void, but now it seemed that he had to keep them in his body. In an instant, Lin Fei grasped some of the reincarnation emperor /S techniques. As soon as he entered, he saw a sword light slashing over. It turned out that the black-haired young man who went in had already noticed it. After the sword arrived, the world instantly changed color, and the world also became dark at this moment. Then it was replaced by light, following behind me sneakily. You're quite daring. After this sword was slashed, the world returned to normal. The black-haired young man didn't backslash. T expects someone to be able to follow him in without him noticing. If he hadn't backslashed, T sensed it at the 5th level. He really wouldn't backslash, T have known. This was also his strongest sword. He didn't backslash. T believed that anyone could take it. This was a bit of the Reincarnation Emperor backslash's power. He finally arrived at the 5th level. The black-haired young man definitely wouldn't backslash. T let anyone snatch his opportunity. No matter who it was, he would go all out. Junior brother, you're too hot-tempered. You used such a powerful move right off the bat. Fortunately, I've learned the reincarnation technique. Otherwise, I would have suffered a bit in your hands. A person walked out. He looked unharmed, but a giant whirlpool appeared in front of him. The whirlpool spun continuously. It was such a whirlpool, but the black-haired young man instantly sensed a familiar aura. Wasn't backslash. T this the aura of reincarnation? He had also cultivated a reincarnation in his body, but it wasn't backslash T as domineering as this one. This time, it was the black-haired young man who frowned. You are my senior brother. The sword from before was indeed quite terrifying. After the sword came over, Lin Fei used his technique. This technique was indeed quite fierce. Fortunately, Lin Fei had already grasped the reincarnation technique. After the reincarnation came out, he used the power to reincarnate continuously. Almost 70% of the reincarnation backslash S power was reduced, and the remaining 30% landed on his body. Naturally, it couldn't backslash to cause any damage to Lin Fei. Do you think that master backslash S techniques are something that an outsider can grasp? Lin Fei smiled. He casually removed the reincarnation technique. Then, one by one, the primordial spirit walked out. You shouldn't backslash. Do you have any thoughts after seeing this, right? It was also at that moment. Lin Fei had another thought. Since he had grasped the reincarnation emperor backslash S technique, he could naturally impersonate it. After all, such a person could be considered the son of luck. Otherwise, he wouldn't backslash T have entered the 5th level. The moment the 10 reincarnation primordial spirits appeared, the black-haired young man was instantly shocked. He immediately recognized what it was. You actually succeeded in cultivating master backslash S reincarnation primordial spirit. Lin Fei knew that this black-haired kid should know a lot of secrets, and he must be an inheritor. As for how many inheritors there were, he didn't backslash T know. Anyway, Lin Fei had already grasped the reincarnation primordial spirit and the reincarnation formation, and that was enough. Chapter 5078. The black-haired young man was shocked when he saw the reincarnation primordial spirit. He had been trying to cultivate the reincarnation primordial spirit. However, he had not been able to learn it. He did not expect that his master would leave a senior brother for him. This senior brother seemed to be very powerful. He was relieved. The reincarnation primordial spirit was not something that anyone could cultivate. Without the inheritance of the great emperor, it was impossible to cultivate it. His attitude immediately took a 180-degree turn. Junior brother by A.O. greets senior brother. By A.O. did not suspect anything at all. Only the inheritors of the great emperor could cultivate the reincarnation primordial spirit, not to mention the reincarnation technique, which was the work of the great emperor's master. Lin Fei smiled faintly. Those who do not know are not to be blamed. I thought that I was the only one who inherited the great emperor's inheritance. I did not expect that there would be a senior brother. It seems that senior brother has been waiting for me here. Those people from Xiankong Palace must be dumbfounded. I even want to get my master's inheritance. At this time, Bai Ao seemed very excited. At least he had a senior brother who had cultivated the reincarnation primordial spirit, which was very helpful to him. If he had not pretended to be the cannon fodder that Shenkong Palace wanted, he would not have been qualified to come here. After all, Shenkong Palace was a first-class force. If he had not registered at the Demon Hunter Hall, he would not have been qualified to come here. If he had tried to force his way in, they would have found out long ago. His method was different now. He did not expect that there would be a senior brother waiting for him here. Lin Fei smiled. I've been waiting here for a long time. If I still didn't come, they would have discovered this place. At that time, it would be hard to avoid a fight. Now that junior brother is here, it's perfect. After all, you are Master's successor disciple. Bai Ao did not think too much. Those who could cultivate the reincarnation primordial spirit were naturally the inheritors of the great emperor, which was his senior brother. Thank you, senior brother, for waiting for me here. I will go and get the inheritance first. When the time comes, I will make Shenkong Palace regret it. There were some things in front of him. Lin Fei did not say anything. Let's get Master's inheritance first. Then you'll be my junior brother. Lin Fei did not really care what kind of inheritance the reincarnation emperor had left behind. After all, he had already taken the best thing, the reincarnation primordial spirit. The reincarnation heavenly emperor would probably faint from crying if he received such a thing from signing in. Bai Ao had never thought that the person in front of him was actually a fake. He directly went over to receive the inheritance. He didn't try to hide anything during the whole process. In any case, he trusted Lin Fei quite a bit. The legacy items were all treasures. Of course, they were all Divine Master level treasures. Among them, there were quite a few 8-star Divine Master level treasures. He was indeed rich and overbearing. Lin Fei didn't touch these things from the beginning to the end. This was because these things had been left with a special method. Only Bai Ao could get his hands on them. Not long later, Bai Ao came back, and he looked very different from before, because he had already obtained the inheritance of the great emperor. At the very least, he had obtained quite a few of these treasures. Once a treasure was obtained, even if it could not unleash its full power, it could still unleash 10% to 20% of its power. After reaching a certain level, the power of the treasure would be even stronger. Thank you, senior brother, for helping to look after this place. I don't have anything good to give you. These are some cosmic god stones left behind by Master. Bai Ao was quite a good person. After all, he hadn't even cultivated the reincarnation primordial spirit, but his senior brother had already mastered it and could even use the reincarnation array. Naturally, he had to rope in such a backer. Here are 500,000 cubic meters of cosmic godstones. Senior brother, please accept them. Lin Fei came this time for these cosmic godstones. He had become a laborer for these things, but it seemed that the harvest was quite good. If he had taken down Bai Ao just now, it would have been a little troublesome. However, now that he was willing to give 500,000 cosmic godstones to him, it was quite good. You can keep these cosmic godstones for yourself. Senior brother, do you really care about these cosmic godstones? Since he was going to be a senior brother, he had to put on an act. Lin Fei really wanted these cosmos godstones. With these hundreds of thousands of cosmos godstones, he could use the space-time teleportation array to head to the Heaven Deity Palace. At the very least, he would be able to get close to the Tenjin Temple. There was a chance that he could enter. Without these cosmic godstones, it would be really troublesome. Bai Ao felt that his senior brother was extremely high and mighty. He didn't even care about 500,000 cosmic godstones. This made Bai Ao want to give these cosmic godstones to his senior brother. After all, he had cultivated the reincarnation primordial spirit. 10 reincarnation primordial spirits could weaken the enemy's strength. Although he didn't know how strong his senior brother was now, he was much stronger than him. Once his reincarnation array was used, he would be able to suppress him to death. He wouldn't even be able to struggle. Senior brother, you are too courteous. This is just a small token of my appreciation. Moreover, my family is considered wealthy and has a strong foundation. Naturally, I don't care about these 500,000 cosmic godstones. After delaying for a while, Lin Fei finally accepted these cosmic godstones. I will accept these 500,000 cosmic godstones first. In the future, you can look for me if you need anything. Lin Fei finally received these 500,000 cosmic godstones. He was quite happy. He had earned 500,000 cosmic godstones for nothing. Now he would have enough for his travel expenses. Bai Ao finally heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that his senior brother wouldn't want these cosmic godstones. Since I have accepted your 500,000 cosmic godstones, I will tell you how to get started with the reincarnation primordial spirit so that you won't take too many detours. Lin Fei was quite magnanimous. After all, he had taken 500,000 cosmic godstones. This wasn't a small amount. Many people couldn't take it out, but Bai Ao could. He was indeed from a big family clan or a big sect. Bai Ao was instantly delighted. The reincarnation primordial spirit was very difficult to get started. Until now, he hadn't been able to grasp it. For example, although he had received some things from his master, he still had to slowly cultivate it. He still had to slowly cultivate the basics by himself. If he had senior brother's guidance, it would be completely different. Even if he had money, he might not be able to hear it. Senior brother really took care of him. These 500,000 cosmic godstones were really worth it. Bai Ao laughed. To him, cosmic godstones weren't that important. However, it was different for the reincarnation primordial spirit. Chapter 5079. With Lin Fei's words, the situation instantly changed. Bai Ao was enlightened. It was no wonder he couldn't get started with it. This was the key. He had been on the wrong path. He was even more respectful towards this senior brother. Thank you, senior brother. Without you, I really don't know how to cultivate this reincarnation primordial spirit. I heard that cultivating one reincarnation primordial spirit requires a lot of resources. 10 reincarnation primordial spirits would take at least 1,000 years to cultivate. Most people would need 2,000 to 3,000 years. Bai Ao worshipped this senior brother even more. This senior brother of his was much more powerful and terrifying than he had imagined. This was definitely a deeply hidden existence that he knew. He didn't even receive any information. Lin Fei had a smile on his face when he heard this, but his heart was shocked. The reincarnation primordial spirit was actually so difficult to cultivate. It took 2,000 to 3,000 years to cultivate 10 reincarnation primordial spirits. The reward he received from signing in was really amazing. When you go back, just think about it carefully. Senior brother, this is a treasure left behind by Master. I don't think I can use it to its full potential, so I might as well give it to you. Although you have so many treasures and probably won't be interested in this, this is also a token of my appreciation. I hope you will accept it. Originally, Bai Ao felt that their relationship should be much closer after giving away 500,000 cosmos godstones. After hearing the key to cultivating the reincarnation primordial spirit, he immediately felt that this senior brother was even more terrifying. He didn't know how long the senior brother took to cultivate the reincarnation primordial spirit, but it was definitely shorter than he imagined. Bai Ao felt that if he didn't get to know him better, he would give himself a big slap. Wasn't it just a godlord level treasure? Although it was precious, it was different when compared to a senior brother like this. His senior brother taught him the cultivation of the reincarnation primordial spirit step by step. Although Lin Fei cultivated it quickly, he had already mastered the reincarnation primordial spirit. Naturally, he knew some of the key points in cultivating it. Hence, his words were of great help to Bai Ao. Bai Ao took out a treasure. When this treasure was taken out, Lin Fei's heart slightly moved. It was actually an 8-star divine master grade treasure. This treasure was extremely terrifying. Even if it wasn't displayed, Lin Fei could feel its aura. Bai Ao had indeed obtained quite a few 8-star divine master level treasures, but they were of no use to him right now. It was not a problem to use it to curry favor with Senior Brother. Senior Brother, this treasure is called the Demon Exterminating Divine Thunder Diagram. It's an extremely powerful treasure. It's useless in my hands, and it might even be dangerous. But in Senior Brother's hands, it will be of help. Please don't stand on ceremony, and accept it. He directly handed over the treasure. This treasure really made Lin Fei a little excited. After all, it could be a treasure of the 8 Immortals' almighty level. His reincarnation, primordial spirit, didn't have any treasures yet. With this treasure, he could activate the reincarnation formation and instantly kill experts below the 8-star divine master level. Since you insist on giving it to me, I'll keep it for you. When you reach the 7-star divine master level, I'll return it to you. Lin Fei smiled and put the demon exterminating divine thunder diagram away. Bai Ao was completely relieved. As long as Senior Brother could accept it, there wouldn't be any problems. I'll take you out now. Bai Ao shook his head. Senior Brother, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I've brought a spatial treasure so we can leave this place directly. This was left behind by Master. After a flash of light, it instantly enveloped the two of them and tore open a passage. As soon as they got out, they appeared far away in the starry sky. They were so far away that even the Xiankong Palace wouldn't be able to sense it. Senior Brother, if you're free, why don't you come to my family as a guest? My father would be very happy. Lin Fei smiled and shook his head. Let's forget about this for now. I have other things to do. Bai Ao felt that it was a pity. This was a chance to get to know Lin Fei up close. Since Bai Ao had said so, he naturally wouldn't have any other thoughts. After the two of them left, Bai Ao left. Lin Fei smiled as he watched Bai Ao leave. He had gotten a great bargain. Not only did I get 500,000 universe godstones, but I also got an 8-star divine master level treasure and this reincarnation primordial spirit. It seems like this place is really suitable for me. At the same time, he was even more glad that he had made the right choice. He had actually thought of a way to impersonate someone. Most people probably wouldn't have thought of such a thing. This was just right. Whoosh! Lin Fei boarded the flying ship and left. He arrived at the nearest world. In the nearest world, Lin Fei used the space-time teleportation formation. Some worlds would have a space-time teleportation formation. One could earn a lot of money by traveling quickly. Therefore, most worlds would have such a formation. Lin Fei spent 50,000 universe godstones and finally arrived at the Tenjin Temple on the route it had taken before. 50,000 universe godstones was indeed not a small amount. Many people were reluctant to travel like this, but in Lin Fei's opinion, they could afford it. Of course, the shorter the distance, the lower the cost. The longer the distance, the higher the cost. When he arrived at this place, he asked around and found out that the Heavenly God Palace was heading in another direction. Lin Fei continued on his way. This time, the journey was different. He spent 50,000 universe godstones, which was considered a long distance. He had no choice. The Tenjin Temple had appeared in this place. This information was obtained from the World Tower. Some large worlds had world towers. They were big and small, but the information was common. This time, Lin Fei got what he wanted. He could buy good information and was even more certain of the Tenjin Temple's location. He spent 50,000 universe godstones on this trip. The information alone cost 100,000 universe godstones. That was about 200,000 universe godstones. He really spent money like water. If he didn't have any wealth, he wouldn't have been able to survive. Fortunately, he finally knew the exact location and there was nothing to worry about. Now he had to find out how to enter the Tenjin Temple. Not everyone could afford such a huge expenditure. Fortunately, he had the space-time teleportation formation. As soon as he arrived in this area, Lin Fei started to search. This was because the Tenjin Temple had disappeared in this area. As for where it went, no one knew. Anyway, it was purely luck. This was because the Tenjin Temple, according to the world building, would stay in one place for a period of time. This period of time could be as short as a day or as long as 10 days to half a month. It was purely luck. Chapter 5080. Lin Fei had experienced the feeling of spending money like water. After all, if it weren't for the 500,000 cosmic godstones, it wouldn't have been easy for him to find the whereabouts of the Tenjin Temple. It was just that he hadn't been able to find the Tenjin Temple no matter how hard he searched. This surprised Lin Fei quite a bit. Could it be that the information was wrong? He felt that the world building wouldn't provide wrong information, so it could only mean that the Tenjin Temple was hidden quite deeply. In this area, Lin Fei didn't encounter too many people. Although he didn't encounter too many people, Lin Fei could sense traces of people appearing. If he wasn't mistaken, they were all looking for the so-called Tenjin Temple. It was just that the Tenjin Temple was too difficult to find. Lin Fei used the Great Karma technique, but he still couldn't contact it. It had to be said that the Tenjin Temple was indeed quite terrifying. It actually had the ability to resist the Great Karma technique. Lin Fei was already here for the Tenjin Temple, so it was naturally related to the Tenjin Temple. Fortunately, Lin Fei had another way, and that was to sign in. For 7 to 8 days in a row, Lin Fei kept signing in. In the end, he didn't get anything, much to his surprise. Fortunately, his mentality was still quite good. He knew that it wasn't easy to find the whereabouts of the Tenjin Temple by signing in like this. Hence, he had to rely on luck. However, what worried Lin Fei was that if he couldn't find the Tenjin Temple and it left, it would definitely be quite troublesome. Now he just wanted to go to the Tenjin Temple to sign in and get some good things. On the 5th floor of the mystic realm, the holy land of Samsara, he obtained the reincarnation primordial spirit, which greatly improved Lin Fei's strength. Another day passed. Lin Fei still hadn't found anything. This area, big and small, kept expanding outwards. Unfortunately, he could not find it. Lin Fei even wondered if the Tenjin Temple was constantly moving, although it wasn't fast, which was why he couldn't find it. The more it was like this, the more anxious Lin Fei became. However, it was useless to be anxious. He heard that only the fated could find this place. Wasn't he the fated one? His greatest hope could only be placed on signing in every day. However, signing in every day only gave him cosmic godstones. Speaking of which, it was quite frustrating, although it wasn't much. Stop that guy. He must know the location of the Tenjin Temple. I saw him coming out from that place. Hurry up and stop him. Don't let him get away. If he escapes, it will be difficult for us to catch him again. There was a faint sound coming from the front. The voice was very faint, but Lin Fei could feel it in an instant, especially those few words, which were very obvious. It immediately made Lin Fei smile. He didn't expect to encounter such a thing. He rushed over immediately. As soon as he rushed over, he saw someone chasing a young man. The young man was very thin, but he was vomiting blood. This was because a few figures behind him were continuously attacking him. These attacks were very powerful. The young man couldn't resist them at all. He vomited blood along the way. If there were no accidents, he wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. He would be caught by them. Suddenly, a large net fell directly and landed on the young man. At this moment, all his escape routes were blocked. If there were no accidents, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he had wings. Let's see how you escape this time. Those people were immediately delighted. Just as they were about to come up, Lin Fei's figure came out. The saber in his hand instantly broke through the treasure. The large net was blasted away. Then, The young man fell into Lin Fei's hands. A faint voice also fell into the young man's ears. If you don't want to die, you'd better behave. Otherwise, I'll blow you up with one palm strike. The moment the young man was grabbed, he lost all his strength. He was completely restrained. He knew that this person was very terrifying, so he became even more obedient. Those people saw that the young man was about to fall into their hands. They hadn't expected that someone would appear in the blink of an eye. Their faces turned extremely ugly. They immediately surrounded him. "Kid, this person is one of us. Aren't you not giving us any face by taking him away? Hurry up and hand him over. That way we can still let you go. Otherwise, you'll die for sure." These people were all God Lord experts, all of them around 3 or 4 stars. It was quite a formidable lineup. Lin Fei suddenly let out a cold harumph and punched out. Then, the reincarnation primordial spirit appeared. The reincarnation array activated, instantly suppressing their strength. With one slash, these God Lords were instantly killed. It was so fast that they didn't even have time to react before they died. As for the young man in Lin Fei's hands, he was completely flustered. These were 3 or 4 star God Lords, but they had been taken care of just like that. Could this person be a 5 or 6 star expert? Lin Fei waved his hand and collected all their rings. In the blink of an eye, he left the place. These fellas were quite wealthy. They had a total of 200,000 cubic meters of cosmos godstones in their rings. This was not a small number. After all, they were only around 3 or 4 stars. As for the other things, Lin Fei didn't really care about them. He would just find a place to sell them. He casually lifted the young man up. From what they said, you seem to know the location of the Tenjin Temple. Bring me there, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll kill you right now. Lin Fei's gaze was extremely cold. The young man started to tremble. If I bring you there, will you really let me go? Not just anyone can enter that place. I only managed to enter by chance, but it's too dangerous inside. I'm not interested in what you have on you. As long as you bring me there, that's all. It's that simple. I'm different from them. Lin Fei was indeed different from them. It was not easy for him to find such a clue, so he naturally had to use it. The young man accepted his fate. I hope you'll let me go when the time comes. Just lead the way. The young man recovered after eating some elixirs. He had no impression of this young man at all. It was highly likely that he was a peak 5-star existence. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill those people so easily. Just now, Lin Fei had indeed been testing out the reincarnation array. It was indeed quite terrifying. With one move, he had suppressed 90% of their strength. He had taken care of them with one slash. Chapter 5081. With Su Mo leading the way, things were completely different. According to him, this guy found the Tenjin Temple by chance and entered it by chance. Such a coincidence was really the result of luck and chi. If it wasn't for luck, he wouldn't have been able to enter it. Lin Fei was very clear about this. This fellow brought Lin Fei along as he shuttled back and forth in this area. Fortunately, Lin Fei had a flying boat, which was much faster than him. They didn't stop too much along the way. It took them 7 to 8 days to arrive at a particularly remote place. In this remote place, there was an inconspicuous, small world. This uninhabited small world was completely barren. The entire small world had turned into a wasteland. Wind and dust billowed and lightning flashed. This was a small world of death. It wouldn't take long for this small world to vanish. This was because the lifespan of a small world was limited. Once the time was up, the small world would die completely. This was what Lin Fei found out after reading through a lot of information. Unless one could upgrade these small worlds and turn them into large-scale life worlds, they would be annihilated in a puff of smoke when the time was up. Lin Fei had found many such worlds along the way. However, he didn't expect the Tenjin Temple to be in such an inconspicuous, small world. The last time I came here, I found the Tenjin Temple here. It was also a coincidence. It seems that something led me here, Suemo said as soon as he entered. Lin Fei didn't feel any attractive aura, but he checked it out immediately. He didn't find anything the first time, the second time, and the third time. Lin Fei's face sank. Could it be that the Tenjin Temple wasn't here? He decisively used the Great Karma Technique. As soon as he used the Great Karma Technique, he felt something. A trace of traction seemed to be moving forward. Lin Fei finally smiled. It wasn't that his Great Karma Technique was useless, but the distance was too far. Sure enough, only within a certain distance could one approach the Tenjin Temple. You didn't lie to me. The Tenjin Temple really exists here. Lin Fei also laughed. All he had to do was find the right place. Suemo finally heaved a sigh of relief. He was afraid that after this expert brought him here, he would destroy him. This was called guarding the news. I can't let you go now. I will only let you go when we find the Tenjin Temple. Lin Fei continued to lead him forward. There was no danger in this place until they reached the most central position. Suemo pointed ahead and said, "It's here. It's faintly discernible. I entered it by coincidence. I think I won't have that feeling if I go in again. I can only go in once." Suemo said from the side. Lin Fei's great karma art was also focused in front of him. His perception did not detect the existence of the Tenjin Temple at all. If he wanted to enter this place, he would have to rely on luck. He casually let Suemo leave. "You're lucky. What you said is true. You can leave now. Go as far as you can. Don't be targeted by others again." Suemo trembled as he left this small world. He only stopped when he was far away. He also heaved a long sigh of relief. He didn't expect that he would really be able to survive. Lin Fei checked the surroundings up and down. There was no Tenjin Temple. Then he thought of a possibility. The Tenjin Temple was most likely in the depths of space-time. This was a profound mystery. No wonder that person could enter. This should be fate. Now, Lin Fei wanted to go in, but he couldn't. No wonder everyone wants to come to this Tenjin Temple. It really depends on luck to hide in such a small world. I wonder how long I can hide in this small world. Let's see what I can sign in for tomorrow. I hope there's a way to enter. Lin Fei smiled bitterly in his heart. Not being able to enter was the biggest problem. What did it mean by not being able to enter the door of a treasure? This was the worst thing. Now, Lin Fei's situation was even worse. If he couldn't enter, it would be really troublesome. In the blink of an eye, a day passed. On the second day, Lin Fei immediately started signing in. He hoped that signing in would give him a chance to enter the Tenjin Temple. Sign in successful. Received a luck talisman. Even Lin Fei himself was surprised by this item. He was actually rewarded with a luck talisman. This thing was really mysterious. Luck was something that even Lin Fei himself couldn't figure out. This was something that no one could study. It was said that some people had heaven-defying luck and could obtain good things wherever they went. Now that he had obtained a luck talisman, could it be related to the Tenjin Temple? Lin Fei pondered for a while and took out the talisman. He used it immediately. It turned out that this luck talisman could only last for 24 hours. During these 24 hours, his luck would change to a certain extent. After using it, Lin Fei smiled bitterly. There seemed to be something wrong with his brain. This luck talisman naturally had to be used more often to increase his luck. He was just standing here like a fool. Could it be that he had gained anything? Lin Fei slapped his forehead and decided to take a stroll around this small world first. So far, this small world was the only place he could go. He couldn't go anywhere else at all. If he stood still, how would he know that there was such a thing as luck? This thing was very mysterious to begin with. Lin Fei felt that he was quite smart to be able to think of such a way. This small world wasn't very big, and many of it had become ruins. Of course, he also saw some palaces. There was nothing in these palaces at all. If he wasn't mistaken, they had already been ransacked several times. Even if a mouse came in, it would go out hungry. After walking for more than half a day, Lin Fei didn't find anything at all. This thing was useless. No matter what, this thing had been used. Lin Fei could only wander around aimlessly. Wait, it seems like someone came in. While wandering, Lin Fei felt an aura appear in this small world. This aura was extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye it went in a direction. Lin Fei remembered that place the most clearly. It was the location of the Tenjin Temple. Although Lin Fei couldn't find it, he was sure that it was in that location. And now, someone actually went there. Could it be that someone was led here? When this possibility came out, he felt that it should be true. He didn't expect that someone would really be led here. Then his chance came. Chapter 5082. Lin Fei could finally breathe a sigh of relief because he finally sensed that someone was coming. If he wasn't mistaken, that person should be heading for the Tenjin Temple. His luck talisman was quite useful. Finally, the person that Lin Fei was waiting for arrived. He hadn't seen this person yet, but Lin Fei already knew in his heart that the other party was definitely heading for the Tenjin Temple. And now, as long as he went over, there was a high chance that he would have a chance to follow the other party's trail and find the Tenjin Temple. When the time comes, he would be able to reach this place. Originally, Lin Fei felt that his talent was quite good, but now it seemed that he wasn't the luckiest person in this starry sky, let alone the son of destiny. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to not find the Tenjin Temple. He even used the great karma technique to search for it. He could barely determine the location, but he couldn't see the Tenjin Temple. Speaking of which, it was such a sad thing. The more it was like this, the more Lin Fei realized that as long as he signed in, he would naturally obtain unimaginable benefits. Swish! Lin Fei chased all the way here at an extremely fast speed. Just as he chased over here, the person on the other side also appeared. It was a middle-aged man in a black robe. The middle-aged man in a black robe was surprised to see Lin Fei. Lin Fei laughed first. Your Excellency, you were also led here by the Tenjin Temple, right? This Tenjin Temple is right here. It seems that we are quite fated. Lin Fei pretended to know everything. The middle-aged man in a black robe was indeed surprised at first, but he quickly regained his senses. The Tenjin Temple was indeed here. Not everyone could enter this place. One must have the guidance of the Tenjin Temple to find this place, not to mention entering it. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to detect it at all, even if they used treasures. Those who could enter the Tenjin Temple were all people with great potential. He would be recognized by the Tenjin Temple. Your Excellency is also a fated person. What a coincidence! I am Immortal Kumu. Immortal Kumu cupped his hands towards the other party. This young man looked very ordinary and unfamiliar, but Immortal Kumu felt a dangerous aura from him. I am Lin Fei. Lin Fei had no reason to hide his name. Names like this were all over the streets. Even if one wanted to look for one, it would be impossible to find one in a short time. Therefore, there was nothing to worry about at all, and there was no need to worry about being targeted. Immortal Kumu was indeed quite unfamiliar because he had never heard of this name at all. However, it did not prevent him from recognizing this young man because the other party was also a fated person. He was also qualified to enter the Tenjin Temple. Just based on this point alone, that was enough. As for fighting to the death, it was very rare. At this level, everyone knew that they would rather offend one less enemy. Who knew when this enemy would make a big move? He might even bring a lot of trouble to the family. Others might not believe such a thing. People who had reached this level would never easily offend others. However, he was even more unwilling to offend this stranger in front of him. Since you came first, you should go in first. Otherwise, when we go in together, the opportunities we encounter will be different. Don't you think so? Lin Fei smiled with a humble look on his face. This surprised Immortal Kumu. He felt that this young man was a little different from what he had imagined. He had never seen such a young man before. Immortal Kumu laughed out loud. Your Excellency is quite interesting. In that case, I won't stand on ceremony. Immortal Kumu didn't think too much about it. Those who could find this place were all attracted by the Tenjin Temple and were recognized. Not to mention that the other party could tell at a glance that there was a Tenjin Temple here. This would not arouse any suspicion. Whoosh! True monarch Kumu directly flew in, and the layers of space directly retreated. In the depths of the void, there was a vague existence of the Tenjin Temple. Lin Fei finally saw it. At the same time, he used the great karma technique. He instantly locked onto the Tenjin Temple. He knew that he was really lucky this time. The other party was indeed a person with great luck, unlike himself. After he had the blessing of the luck talisman, things were different. Instead, he met this person. If it wasn't for the luck talisman, it was hard to say when he would meet this person. Immortal Kumu finally entered the palace with some precautions. As for the other party, he stood outside and didn't follow him in. He was finally relieved. In the blink of an eye, all his thoughts were on the Tenjin Temple. Just as he disappeared, Lin Fei moved instantly. His spirit projection was launched directly. This time, it wasn't projected on the other party's body, but in front of the Tenjin Temple. At this moment, the layers of void began to return to normal, and Lin Fei seized this opportunity and instantly entered the Tenjin Temple. There was a slight obstruction in the Tenjin Temple, but after Lin Fei had the luck talisman, it was completely different. It was as if the other party had recognized him. With a whoosh, Lin Fei entered the so-called Tenjin Temple. As soon as he entered, he felt like he had come to a place with birds chirping and flowers fragrant. It was completely different from what Lin Fei imagined. His entire body relaxed. Looking at the surrounding scene of birds chirping and flowers fragrant, Lin Fei couldn't help but be surprised. Is this the legendary Tenjin Temple? It feels quite different. It was like a sex mystic realm with pavilions and palaces everywhere. He looked around. Lin Fei finally let out a long sigh of relief. He finally arrived at the Tenjin Temple. This was a place that no one could find in a short time, but he managed to enter just like that. This was enough. As long as he signed in here, he would be able to obtain some treasures related to the Tenjin Temple. As for what it would depend on his luck. Unfortunately, he had already signed in today, so he could only wait until tomorrow. Lin Fei felt that he had to find a safe place first. He didn't know how many people were inside. It would be terrible if he encountered some powerful people and got kicked out. Not everyone was as easy to negotiate as true monarch Kumu. Lin Fei still had self-awareness. He had sensed it just now, but there was a mysterious method to conceal it, so Lin Fei couldn't sense it at all. This also made him even more certain that there was definitely a powerhouse inside. It was better for him to find a palace and hide first. This could be considered a better solution. At the very least, it was safe. For Lin Fei, as long as it was safe, everything else could be put aside. When the time came, he would be able to slowly sign in. Thinking about it, he was quite looking forward to it.